news. Oh, I tune into my TV show. No better way, I gotta get myself into gear. Let's go. Oh, and I feel good today with my way.
Thursday, we want to push the boat out just a little bit from learning drawing techniques using a tablet to creating some art out of recycled Expresso capsules. And we've been blown away by what we've seen so far, and I think you will be too. Then we catch up with our legal eagle, Aitan Stern, to learn all about the ins and outs of renting property in South Africa. I know a lot of light bulbs going off right now. And then Kutle is going to meet up with Swedish entrepreneur and co-founder of micro property development initiative BitProp, and that's Mr. Carl Frederick Summer. And I think he's got some perspective changing insights to offer you there as well. I'm going to learn a bit more about its history and how lives are changing through empowering on this platform. So it's going to be an empowering show this morning, and we're so glad to have you join us for the ride. One guy I know is ready. He's sitting at the front, ready to lead the charge. Mr. Raul Demorne. Good morning, brother. How are you doing?
Papa, good morning, brother. Good morning, you beautiful souls, and welcome to Thursday. We are live, and this is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Of course, it's Expresso on a Thursday morning, and I can't thank you enough for joining me once again. My name is Raul Demorne, and this morning we're chatting to you about some interesting things. Of course, we are empowering you, but on top of that, we want to chat to you, Mzansi, and get in touch with us on our social media channels. And of course, today we're dressed in warm colors, and we're asking you, with winter fast approaching, what are your favorite cold weather foods? Now, I know Mzansi has so many options when it comes to our food and our culture, of course. We've got stews, we've got curries, we've got soups, we've got all the sorts, but we want to know what your favorite is, and maybe we'll even attempt to make it on the show. I've got to say my favorite, it has to be, it's standard, it's basic, it's simple. It's just a nice, warm, freshly baked bread and some soup, get my dip on, and that is winter all set for Nature Boy CT. Of course, guys, let us know on the social media channels. That's expressoshow.com, and of course, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But before we do, let's find out what's happening in and around the world with our news.
Thanks so much, Raul. Let's start here in South Africa, where Higher Education Minister Blade Nzimande has sent a team of senior officials from his department to Wits University to establish the causes of instability at the institution. This following the death of a civilian by police attempting to disperse a student protest outside the Wits campus in Braamfontein. Students want the university to allow students to owe up to 150,000 rand to register and sign an acknowledgement of debt. But Wits management is unwilling, as it's owed some 1 billion rand in outstanding fees, and such a concession could render the university unsustainable. Then earlier, Minister Nzimande said he hoped the cabinet would approve additional funding for the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, and Nzimande also announced on Monday that the NSFAS does not have sufficient resources to fund this year's first-year students. He told Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts that universities have been asked to extend their registration period by 2 weeks so that students would not be disadvantaged. And he said he spoke to university vice-chancellors yesterday, and they agreed on that request. Now, on the international front, women account for a slightly smaller proportion of COVID-19 infections and deaths compared to men. This according to an analysis by the World Health Organization in 28 African countries. The analysis, based on COVID-19 gender-specific data provided by countries, found that although women account for around 41% of cases, this ranges from 31% in Niger to over 57% in South Africa. This despite women accounting for a large part of the health workforce, placing them at a much higher risk of infection. And in Africa, more than 95,000 health workers have been infected with COVID-19. Now, moving to the UK, TV host Piers Morgan has left ITV's Good Morning Britain following a row over comments he made about the Duchess of Sussex. ITV announced the decision after his comments received some 41,000 complaints. On Monday's show, Morgan said, and we quote, "Didn't believe a word the Duchess had told Oprah Winfrey about her mental health." Later, Morgan said he had reflected on his opinion of the Oprah interview and still did not believe Meghan, adding that, and again we quote, "Freedom of speech is a hill I'm happy to die on." Now, on the positive side, some news of a South African student winning an international opera contest. Sazi Aba, a 22-year-old music student at the University of Fort Hare in the Eastern Cape, is making a name for himself as an opera singer internationally. He has bagged top spots in an international US opera online singing competition by winning the Emerging Artists category in the Aspiring Opera Singers Voice competition. He finished ahead of 121 submissions from all around the world. This comes 2 months after Sazi was crowned winner of the Voices of SA's International Opera 2020 online competition in the under 22 category. He says he saw the competition on Facebook and decided to participate, adding, and we quote, "There were many people participating from around the world, and truly I didn't think I was going to make it this far." He said the competition took a fortnight of judging by the Mexican-American soprano Vanessa Becerra and the American baritone Luis Alejandro Orozco. And Sazi wasn't a fan of opera music at primary school, believe it or not, but after his English teacher forced him to join the school choir, well, he's never looked back, and I'm sure he feels pretty pleased that he hasn't at this stage. On that positive note is where we leave our news headlines. Let's get into a bumper midweek sporting lineup. Well, we had some fantastic local rugby last night. The Lions beating the EP Elephants 54-24 at the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium to continue their winning form in the 2021 kickoff series. Yesterday, the team from Johannesburg scoring 8 tries to the Elephants 4 to secure their second win in the warm-up series. Then in our second match of the night, experienced Springbok Frans Steyn kicked a long-range penalty goal to seal a 39-38 win for the Cheetahs over the Sharks in an absolute thriller in Bloemfontein last night. Then keeping it local for cricket, continuing his incredible domestic form, Keshav Maharaj, he picked up 7 wickets and struck 89 from just 62 deliveries, hitting 11 fours and 3 sixes in the Dolphins' second innings to register an 86-run victory over the Lions in the CSA 4-day series. In other 4-day series results, the Titans, they forced a draw against the Knights, and the match between the Cape Cobras and the Warriors was abandoned as a draw after rain prevented any play on the final day of the match at Newlands in Cape Town yesterday. And staying in South Africa for football, Premier Soccer League action continued yesterday with Golden Arrows moving into second place on the log. That was after claiming a 2-1 win over Chakuma Cha Madzivandila at the old Peter Mokaba Stadium in Polokwane. And other results, Kaizer Chiefs, they drew 1 apiece against Maritzburg United, their 6th league game without a win now. And Stellenbosch FC, they moved into 9th after seeing off Baroka FC 3-1. And TS Galaxy continued their incredible form by beating Black Leopards 3-1 in Nelspruit. Then a little further afield, tabletoppers Manchester City bounced back to winning ways from their 2-0 defeat at the hands of Manchester United to thrash Southampton 5-2 at the Etihad Stadium in the English Premier League last night. Riyad Mahrez, who was superb on the evening, and Kevin De Bruyne looking back to his best, both scoring twice. City opened up now a 14-point gap at the top of the standings. Pep Guardiola's side now have 68 points from their 29 games. The Premier Soccer League action will continue again tomorrow. Then on the international fold in the UEFA Champions League last night, Liverpool and Paris Saint-Germain, they saw off their opponents to advance to the competition quarterfinals. Jurgen Klopp's men claiming a 2-0 win over German club RB Leipzig, winning 4-0 on aggregate. Sadio Mane on the score sheet again, and then PSG, who have been superb throughout the tournament, advancing 5-2 on aggregate after the round of 16 second leg clash against Spanish giants Barcelona ended 1 apiece. That's where we leave our sporting headlines for now. Let's get our first take on today's weather.
Thank you so much, G, for the sports update. Good morning, South Africa. Kamalam Gukuhle Adams clocking in for duty this morning, here to give you the first look at what to expect with the skies. But first, here are your sunrise pictures. Thank you to Kathy Robin from Makassar, who shared this moody image of the mountains and clouds in her area. Today, you can expect a maximum of 22 degrees Celsius with some continued showers from the cold front that is moving over Cape Town. Vincent Luthuli from Umgababa, KZN, shared this beautiful image of the sun rising between the clouds. Today's forecast is set to peak at 27 degrees Celsius. Thank you so much for your beautiful sunrise pictures. If you too would like to feature in our sunrise segments, it's very simple. All you need to do is head over to the Expresso Facebook page to share your photo and the name of your location with us. We love to see how you start your day. Now, while we do enjoy experiencing a sunrise from different parts of South Africa, we do have some international viewers tuning in on both YouTube and the Africa channel in the United States of America. This morning, we report on the weather for the city of Cheyenne, the capital city of the state, Wyoming. Cheyenne has a cool, semi-arid climate. Winters tend to be cold and moderately long, but relatively dry. The cold winter days are often interrupted by Chinook winds blowing downslope from the Rockies that can bring warm conditions, bringing the maximum temperature above 10 degrees Celsius. Today's weather has been forecast to be mostly cloudy with a flurry around the morning. A maximum of only 2 degrees Celsius can be expected. Now we bring it back down south up in Mzansi. A bout of heavy rains and intense of tropical storm and La Nina have concocted the perfect mix for South Africa's average dam levels to be 20% higher compared to the same time last year. The Department of Water and Sanitation said yesterday that dams in the country now average at 86.4%, significantly better than last year's 56.6% average. The department says the integrated Vaal River system, which consists of 14 dams, has especially benefited from the rains. In Gauteng alone, the Vaal Dam is at 105%, Sterkfontein Dam at 97%, Grootdraai Dam at 101%, and Bloemhof Dam at 103%. Tropical Storm Eloise receives most of the credit for the higher dam levels, with the department saying it enabled provinces such as KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, Limpopo, and the Free State to reach full capacity overnight. Not all provinces benefited as much as the recent rains, with large parts of the Eastern Cape continuing to experience dry conditions, with dam levels having dropped at an alarming rate. The Nelson Mandela Bay region is suffering the most, with the Algoa water supply system recording 16% capacity this week. Now, as much as we do rely on natural resources, it's also up to us to use water sparingly and just sustainably. But here are your temperatures in Mzansi. If you do find yourself at Polokwane, do expect some thunder showers, at 40% chance of thunder showers. Bombela, 4% of rain is forecast with a low of 21, reaching a scorching hot 37 degrees. Pretoria, it's also sunny day in your part of the country with temperatures peaking at 33. Jozi Maboneng, the city of gold, enjoys temperatures from a low of 17, reaching a high of 31 degrees. Partly cloudy conditions in Mahikeng with a maximum of 34, and Klerksdorp follows suit with a maximum of 34 as well. And Kimberley is the perfect summer's day with the sun out at 32 degrees maximum. Bloemfontein 11:30. Richards Bay, your temperatures range from a low of 22, reaching a high of 31 degrees. Pietermaritzburg, your peak for the day is 30 from a low of 17. South Africa's playground Durban, a 64% chance of rain is forecast. Mthatha down in the Eastern Cape, you kick off the morning with a low of 14, reaching an afternoon high of 26. East London, Gyanet and Agungwelocala 19:22. Cradock 11:27. Egqeberha also enjoying some rain this morning with a low of 18, reaching a high of 22. George, 61% chance of rain is forecast in your part of the country. It continues up to Cape Town, 60% chance of rain. The wet conditions are also expected in Worcester with 63% chance of rain, a low of 13 and a high of 25. And we move up to Sutherland, 10:23. And last but not least, Uppington coming through with a minimum of 16, reaching a maximum of 33 degrees. This was the first look at your stunning sunrise pictures and the forecast for the day. We'll have another look shortly after the top of the hour. Gwangogo, make sure to have yourselves a feel-good kind of day.
Nature boy, I need you to put your hand in the air. Use your natural barometer or feel. I'm doing Lion's Head today. Is it going to rain? Is it not going to rain? 60%.
You've got a magic day ahead of you,
I know,
my
man,
friend.
I'm a little bit nervous now. I mean, I'll do it in the rain. I don't care. Maybe whip my cameras out. I don't know.
Well, it's going to be good.
It's going to be very exciting. But lest we forget, we've got 2.5 hours still left with you this morning, and it's going to be so fun. We are catching up with an unbelievably talented singer and ridiculously good-looking man. Mr. Lyle Anthony is back from the US. I've known this guy for a while now, and he is always so impressive when he performs, a consummate professional and just a really awesome guy. So cannot wait to catch up.
Yeah, man, and he's also got his top off more than me on Instagram too, so go check it out and stick around.
That's a lie.
Check it out, stick around, of course, guys. You do not want to go anywhere because Lyle Anthony is about to entertain. Cheers.
Only you can make my day.
Welcome back. You're live with Expresso on a beautiful Thursday morning, and it's only getting better. So 10 years ago, South African-born singer and songwriter Lyle Anthony took the entertainment industry by storm when he won the international franchise talent show Popstars. Since then, Lyle has performed locally at the 2010 Soccer World Cup on stages throughout the world, even on stages that I've been lucky enough to share with him. And he has been living out his American dream in Los Angeles as a performer and, yes, as a model. Lyle has now made his way back to his home country and brought a little bit of new music with him, which makes us very excited. He's going to be telling us a little bit more about that brand new song and upcoming EP and life on this global stage. Lyle,
how are you doing?
Good to see you, man. I feel like we've known each other for a while.
A long time. A few years now.
You haven't aged.
And so haven't you?
Man, thanks. You seem to always be doing something exciting every time I connect with you. And I think that a couple of South Africans have kind of made the brave step of going over to LA and kind of making a go of it. How has life been like that side of the world, especially during these crazy times, man?
You know what, especially during these crazy times, one has to just persevere. But more than that, going over to LA and just living out my dream has been really something that's been fulfilling. It's something I've wanted to do for as long as I can remember. LA has been a place that I wanted to go to. Obviously, with the modeling, it started out with, I modeled for a big underwear brand over there. And then obviously the music, I've just been pushing the music. I've just been pushing the music. I joined a group called Uptown. It's a Motown show, and we travel the country doing a Motown show. And then obviously with lockdown, as crappy as it's been, I think it's pushed me to pursue my personal goals, and that's where I am right now with the EP and Love Wins and My Forever. So
yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Love Wins, because maybe that's the message we need to hear right now.
Absolutely.
Love will win. I've got to ask you, because being able to work alongside you in various formats and just see how professional you are. And I think a lot of younger artists can learn from how hard you guys have worked to stake a claim for yourself. And it feels like you've applied that same kind of mentality in the US. A lot of people go over thinking, well, I'm going to get my big break, but you've still got to work as hard.
So hard. Yeah, absolutely.
How tough is it when you go into that space? Does it feel different from the industry here? Or does it feel like, okay, I've got to just apply the same kind of metal that I apply here, there?
Right, at the end of the day, I think your work ethic will they say your talent's only 20% of what you are, right? And then your work ethic gets you to where you need to be. So if you're persevering and you're pushing forward and just doing that thing, I think that's the most important thing. And I think more than anything, we need to be pushing for those goals and those dreams. Yeah, man, and we're seeing more and more. I was chatting to an Mzamba Mbata the other day. I think there's a flavor of the month around South Africans in LA at the moment, so hopefully we continue to capitalize on that. Love Wins. A lot of artists I've been talking to have been using the COVID kind of lockdown time to write good music and be introspective, maybe do a bit of self-therapy writing. Give us a bit of background on the song. So, I mean, obviously, Love Wins, the message itself just says a lot. I'm a huge advocate for equality, a huge advocate for the LGBTQ community. And more than that, I think on the onset of COVID-19, it was a hard time for everybody. People were depressed and sad. And I thought, you know what, get into studio, write a song that people can dance to, and also the message, love wins. We need to be spreading that message of love, man, especially during these times. People are dying, people are depressed, it's just so important that love needs to win.
Yeah, completely, man. Thank you so much for spreading that message on a global platform, because doesn't it feel like now we are a global village?
Absolutely.
We've all had the exact same experience of life.
Right.
I'm so glad that we've got you back in South Africa. How much longer do you think you're going to be out here? When do you think you're going to head back?
You know what? We chatted a little bit off screen, and hopefully my passport was stolen, so I'm hoping to get that US visa back in there as soon as I can, and then I'm jetting off straight back to accomplish the rest of the EP and also just the rest of this goal and this dream.
Oh, man, I love it, man. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
I've been asked by my director, who is a lady, and to be so... they said the abs need to be seen. But here's the thing, and I'm being honest here, because everyone thinks that you're using Photoshop on your Instagram account, so please can you show them that that's...
The abs?
The abs, please.
For real, baby. They're not oiled up, though. They're not oiled up.
I'm sure Tabiso's got some oil back there. We can round some of that up. But I've always been so impressed by you,
Thank
even
you.
more so now. So happy to have you back in South Africa and in our studio. Cannot wait to get our groove on a little bit later. Ultimately, love wins. And
Yes.
hopefully that's a message you can take on board this morning.
Absolutely.
But so happy to have you here. Thank you so much, my
Thanks
man.
for having me.
And we love to see it. We love to see love winning, and we love to groove as well. And here's the thing about fashion. Fashion is like music, right? There's some rhythm and grooving there. There are a variety of notes that you can find. We all have to make our own tune. But when it comes to clothing, summer is really all about being comfortable. It's about being stylish. But what can you look forward to when it comes to autumn-winter 2021 as far as the guys are concerned? Well, we got the 411 in the house. This morning, Aziz Jacobs from Jacobs Menace here to show us, a bit of a rundown and give us a bit of a rundown as well of what to expect. Aziz, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I get excited seeing you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much for coming through, because this is such an exciting time for the gents and for the ladies as well. I think yesterday when it got quite cold here in Cape Town, I got really excited about the opportunity to step into that winter wear and all of those looks that are coming through. But what can people look forward to where AW21, Autumn-Winter 21 is concerned?
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting this season, and it's going to be all about layering. So as you can see what we have on this rail, we have some beautiful color blocking, and it's going to be a very bold and stylish winter.
Yeah,
you know
I see that. It's expressive.
Yes, it's very expressive, but I mean, it's fashion, it's 2021, so we can be expressive. We have these matching sets from Woolworths, these track suits, which is definitely a must-have for the season, for autumn-winter. They're great pieces, they're very comfortable.
Yeah.
And then what's also very interesting, what I like about the Woolworths is the puffer jacket, which is made out of, definitely a staple. And a statement piece as well.
You have to have one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Every year you almost add to your collection a new color, and Woolies does seem to every single year top it up in terms of variety.
Exactly.
I love that.
And then the interesting fact is this are made out of recycled bottles.
What?
So there's some sustainability.
Can I feel the texture of that?
Sure, go ahead.
Well, this is very interesting because sustainability and recycling doesn't have to compromise on style and on texture, because this feels just as comfortable and smooth. So you want to make sure that it hugs you.
Yes.
This will make you get that.
And that's what you're looking for this season, is that comfort and warmth texture that you can add to your wardrobe. And then what's also very interesting and very eye-catching this season is the tie-dye print, which is a must-have as well. It makes it for a great layering piece, or to wear on its own as well.
You see, I'm looking at that, and there's something about just looking at this sweater, for example, that just in my mind gave me a visual of a girlfriend waking up in the morning and wearing my sweater to go make us a cup of coffee as we step out of a good time.
Yeah, exactly. So it just shows like some of the season.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's like, you're in a movie. Well, you didn't bring a model along. You found him here, but you brought some looks for him to show off. Model in. It's Raul Demoni. Okay. All right. 7 And the category is fashion, tender for your gender. Let's talk about this look.
So here you can see he's wearing the matching sweatsuit, which is great. I mean, the color palette, it's amazing. It's a must-have. It doesn't have to be a dark tone. The light blue, it makes it a winter essential. And you can also wear it as separates as well. You can mix the hoodie with your casual wear, or you can wear the track pants when you're lounging on your own with a t-shirt at home. And then obviously the must-have puffer this season, which is an essential. So it's a great look, it's a great combination. And I mean, the comfort and the
that element
property, the fabric contains, it makes it an amazing product.
What you've done really, really well, Aziz, with this and bringing these Woolies looks together is the fact that we're taking into consideration that it's still, lockdown in South Africa. People are working from home, they're running errands, they're doing all of that. Comfort is important, but looking good is equally important.
Exactly.
And that versatility does come through. People are able to take this look from a Zoom meeting to out and about with their mates, having a lunch or running errands.
A casual errand, definitely. Casual meeting. So, and I think that's what Woolworths is bringing for us. For autumn, winter is that comfort and warmth factor, which is very, very important, especially if the weather is a bit
sketchy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, you've done such an incredible job. I love the looks you've pieced together,
Thank
and
you
what
so
Woolies
much.
has come out with in this range is fantastic. Aziz, you're a rock star.
Thank you.
It's all
Thank
about
you for having me.
comfort, and fashion. Embrace the transitional season in soft colors. Yes, you're seeing all of them there. The textures are plenty as well. Prints, they're there as well. You can buy all of these cozy and comfy matching styles, and you can find so many of them at Woolworths. You can buy them in store, online, and on the Woolies app. Happy dressing up, gents. It's the season.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
The other day, Junior with the big hair went for a haircut.
Smooth. Things were looking good.
Until the power cut out.
Not smooth. But don't worry, he called it a half pineapple. And now it's a trend. Nothing smoother.
Tropica.
Made with love by Clover.
Nothing smoother, indeed.
Nothing smooth.
Nothing, man. You might want to find yourself soaking up the last few sunshine days with nothing smoother than a Tropica whilst enjoying some of those smooth or maybe not smooth pool moments. So on Tuesday, we asked you guys to share your smooth or not smooth pool moments with us, and here's what you had to say.
Well, we got one from... Oh, this is so nice. I'm sorry. I get carried away. Chantel Van Roy, who commented on our social media there, of course, saying, my not-so-smooth moment this summer was when, on the hottest days, our beaches and tidal pools were closed. Chantel, I remember that. I do remember that. That really was not
It was
super
not smooth.
It was a smooth move.
But it was
Had to
necessary,
happen.
so we understand. Next, we got a comment coming through from Tammy Lee Smith, who says, my smooth pool moment was when I got to swim despite of having to go to work as well. Hasn't it been that kind of
Girl, I've done that once maybe, and that's really smooth, Tammy Lee. Nothing more refreshing than a smooth swim just before work.
And then our Piwa, Mika Kota, saying, my perfect smooth pool moment is being at home, having a great laugh with loved ones and enjoying smooth Tropica orange.
That sounds like a really smooth way to really spend it any day.
Any day.
I'll
man.
take it any day.
Especially while we've got the sunshine. Then next we've got Kelly Damon, who weighed in with this comment. My not smooth pool moment was when my dog jumped with full force into the pool whilst I was trying to enjoy a bowl of ice cream. My dog was splashing water all over me and spoiling my bowl of ice cream. Guess I should have been sitting with a smooth Tropica instead, which would have been a smoother moment.
I can picture it all. I can picture it. It may have been not smooth for you, but I still think that was definitely a smooth moment for your dog.
I mean, the
really,
dogs
honestly.
need to have fun as well.
You know.
And then finally, Tiffany Matthews commented, my smooth pool moment was on a beautiful summer evening, watching the sunset, enjoying the water, and sipping on a smooth tropic.
Oh, Tiffany, now you know. There's nothing smoother. Just the sound of that, I think, for me, is smooth. It's smooth.
Oh, man. Well, I'm glad you are all savoring the last few little rays of sunshine. Thank you so much for sharing your smooth or not smooth moments with us. We love hearing from you guys. Goes without saying that there is truly nothing smoother than Tropica. So tune in next week so we can get into more smooth or not smooth
You want
moments.
some of that, man?
smooth
Won't you take that
moment
broom
right
and
now,
take
man.
a sip? Nothing smoother.
To impress a gorgeous lifeguard, Marlon decides to catch a huge wave. Smooth. But the wave dumps it. Not smooth.
Luckily, he's where he wants to be, in the arms of the lifeguard.
Nothing smoother.
Tropica.
Made with love by Clover.
While there are days where we get to embrace the sun, and spend the days by the pool, we also had recent chilly and wet conditions, and there is nothing more comforting and warming than a home-cooked meal. I'm pretty sure everyone could agree to that. We're talking about the smells and tastes that you take straight back home and fill you with warmth, love, and comfort. Now, our roast tomato soup with 3 cheese and onion toasties is guaranteed to hit you right in the feels. Our trusted chef, Chef Ilam, hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good, just a little bit chilly and cold.
It is very chilly and cold. On social media, we're asking what's your favorite go-to meal to make you feel warm in the inside. What would you say is yours?
Well, I think this soup and toasted sandwiches is literally the first thing I think of when it rains.
Yes.
So, and it's
Yes.
something so easy and delicious to make, and it's really comforting.
And soup reminds you of home, right? It really gives you that sense of nostalgia. Well, I'm here to help you. I'm seeing a range of ingredients on the table. Please take us through them.
Okay, so I'm going to get started on the tomato soup, and maybe you can start the cheese toasties.
Oh, sure.
So for the tomato soup, and I think tomato soup is really an underrated soup. Like a lot of people, I'm not sure if it's like a Marmite thing where people either love it or hate it. We've got some onion sauteing here, and the red peppers and the tomatoes have been roasted. So we're actually just going to add the garlic in first with the onion, so that can saute.
Are we cooking at very low heat?
I would say medium.
Medium.
Medium, because you want to just saute the onions so they get a bit translucent. And then we're going to go in and we're going to add our roasted red peppers and our tomatoes.
Did we roast them in the oven?
Yeah, so those get roasted for about maybe 15 to 20 minutes at about 180, just so that, you know, it adds some depth of flavor to the soup.
Do you add any like spices at all while we are roasting the peppers and the tomatoes?
So you can put some salt and pepper on it. You can even put some, maybe you can even add your garlic to the to your tomatoes so they get roasted at the same time. And then so we're just going to let this kind of simmer. And then what you're going to do with the toasted sandwiches, we're going to mix all of our cheeses in one bowl. So we've got the Gouda, the feta, and then there's some cheddar cheese.
Okay.
So we're going to mix all of those together. So that's one part of our dish. And then we've already got some caramelized onions.
Onions over there.
So it's like a cheese and tomato, a cheese and an onion sort of sami, but with caramelized onions. So, you know, when you caramelize the onions, it just becomes a whole lot sweeter.
Yes.
And it just adds more flavor.
But how do you caramelize your onions? Just briefly for us, please.
So we're going to leave that separate, and then we're going to butter our bread. We just butter both sides, and then we're going to put some mayonnaise and some mustard on.
So butter, mayo, and mustard.
Yes.
Would you like me to help you with this one as well?
Please.
With pleasure. You know, when I think of tomato soup, for us, we call it ibisto.
Yeah.
Do you know ibisto?
Yes.
Ibisto, right? Yeah, ibisto, where you just cook your tomatoes with onions, very minimal ingredients, but also it's just so filling.
It is, and I feel like with, when you're making something like a tomato soup, you can add different ingredients to it. So you can use whatever tomatoes you have, and there's so many different varieties of tomatoes that you can use. You can use pretty much whatever you have in your fridge. Doesn't matter what kind of tomato, and if you want to add, sort of more flavor, you can add different varieties of tomato, or you can add like maybe some yellow pepper and some red pepper. So I'm just going to add the stock, the chicken stock, to this, so that our soup can simmer.
Okay, let me clean up.
So you can use chicken stock or vegetable stock. It doesn't really matter. Now, obviously, if you're vegetarian, you can use vegetable stock.
Okay.
And then we're going to add, once this has simmered and you've blended this, right, we're just going to add our seasoning. So we've got some salt, and we're going to add some pepper, and then always add your seasoning last, because with soup, when something is reducing, if you add it at the beginning, then it'll reduce, and it might be too salty, or it might be too sweet, or something like that. So I actually just added a little bit of sugar in there, so that it kind of balances the acidity in the tomatoes.
I see.
And then we've got some basil. So right at the end, once you've blended it, you can add the basil in. And
so you can also get the rich flavors out of your dish,
yeah,
right?
Okay, I think the most of it.
I did a great job with the cheeses,
you did.
right?
Thank you. So now we've got some mayonnaise and some mustard. Now, adding mustard with cheese actually adds another layer of flavor that you wouldn't get, if you didn't add it. And then we're just going to go in with we're going to add our cheese mixture. And then
this
our
looks
onion.
so delicious, though.
And the more the merrier.
The more the merrier. You can never say no to cheese.
Yeah. And so for the caramelized onions, you would just take your onions, your sliced onions, put them in some butter, and then just keep them on a low heat. So you don't want to burn your onion.
Yeah.
You just want to like slowly caramelize and get that sugar to like start working and get this lovely brown color. And then we are going to toast this.
Yum.
And I think let's put a little bit of chives in here as well.
We have to put in some.
Just looks pretty.
It looks so pretty, Lam. I can't lie. And if you would like to obviously add variety to your dish, you are able to add different types of meats if you can, right? Like horse or...
Oh, of course, completely.
Completely.
Yeah.
So now we're switching on the plate to toast our... Our bread with the cheeses, with the caramelized onion, with the chives on it.
Yeah, so the butter side down and then put that on top.
Oh, stunning.
And we're just going to toast this until it's really nice and golden.
I love that. But for now, while we are toasting it, I'm pretty sure you would like to get your hands on the ingredients list and on the recipe. Thank you so much for coming through and just putting us on with a filling, delicious, and mouth-watering dish. Thank you so much, Lama. Make sure to head over to expressoshow.com. Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast show, Expresso, here on SABC3. A local arts-based social enterprise has collaborated with some of the world's most prestigious scientific organizations to address health and mental health issues faced by young adults. Planet Divock 91 is a 9-part sci-fi satire webcomic series which focuses on a fictional pandemic outbreak taking place in outer space.
The world has felt like outer space over the last year.
Yes.
I absolutely love the concept. So local creative and entrepreneur Nabil Peterson, who recently led the creation of the South African chapter of Planet Divock 91, joins us in studio this morning along with visual artist, graphic designer and community development activist Iletu Nkala to share a little bit more about what sounds like the coolest project ever. It's just so cool. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you for having us.
We're going to start off by asking, what is Divock 91?
Big question, that's a big question. So Divock 91 started when a lot of minds came together. So it was sort of scientists, research institutions, youth, artists, musicians. And it just came about when we all wanted to do something, working with young people to get their voices out. In a lekker way.
In a lekker way. I'm a big fan of sci-fi, big fan of comics. I love what you can, the kind of message and the concepts that you can tackle when you approach it through the visual art form. Aletu, how do you tie into this? What were some of the themes that you guys broached? How did you kind of work your magic in this mix?
You know, it's a very confusing time for a lot of people, considering like there's this COVID-19 now, which has just derailed people's lives. And for me, being part of this creative space, I was able to speak on some of the most concerning factors which when it comes to mental health, and just staying sure that I stay on track and I can be able to navigate life during this time. So it's been a great creative space to express myself, at the same time try and tackle some of the more serious matters when it comes to understanding what is this actual COVID going on.
And I suppose a great way for you guys to kind of process yourself and be able to kind of self-heal and go through that journey. Chapter 6, same but different. Okay, how can we access it first of all, and what's it all about?
So the comic book is freely available on Webtoons. So we chose Webtoons as a platform because anyone can go on their cell phone or on the computer, and it's completely free. Or from the, I think the website directly.
Yeah, the website directly, you can actually get it there.
But what we're trying to do with the budget is trying to move budget around so we can actually get print. So we're looking at printing about 200 copies, and Aleto has some news that he's been working on.
Okay.
So yeah, man, because we try to get the concepts which are discussing within the COVID-19 space, we're trying to get the Xhosa speakers as well to be able to understand this. So
brilliant.
I'm part of the team which is translating it to Xhosa so that we can get it to a wider audience. I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen a Xhosa comic in a long time.
Oh no, I for one have never seen a Xhosa comic actually.
The last one I remember was Mandela's, I think, biography when he was still young. So I think it's important that we can cover other languages. Besides Xhosa, get to other languages. There's Afrikaans, there's Zulu, Venda, and so there's still a lot to be covered with translating these comics, so it reaches a broader audience and more people can speak about the concepts which are explored within the comic. You know.
And one part of tackling the misconceptions or helping people heal when it comes to mental health or emotional health is accessibility to the contents of the book as well. So that's a big step in the right direction. But how then do you use storytelling to tackle the misconceptions around the world?
In the context of an outer space galaxy.
Well, so there are 3 broad themes that we were interested in tackling with the comic book. So it was sort of stigma discrimination, not only related to COVID. We're looking at miscommunication and then mental health. So miscommunication is sort of a big thing right now. We're all getting info from WhatsApp, from Facebook, from Insta that might not be factual. So we want to tackle that through a comic book. You know, how do you trace what you're seeing is actually true?
So can I add on that?
Yes, please.
So, like, same but different on the chapter that you've asked on. It's interesting for the kids being in a new planet, being told that their planet is going to be destroyed by a meteorite, and then also now the residents of the planet also now are not trusting of the newcomers to their planet. Apparently, they brought the disease there, which is killing their kids. So it's interesting now because they have to deal with their own government, that side, which is not telling them everything. And so we also on our side here, we've got this meteorite, which is COVID-19, and we feel like there are things which are not being told by government. So it's the same thing for the aliens as well, to try and understand their new reality now with humans. And also now we're trying to understand our own reality with this threat to our security as humans.
Do you use the word unprecedented in the comments?
You have to.
You have to.
Well, I think we may have snuck it in somehow, like even if you
Once or twice.
Yeah,
It's there, man. Oh, this sounds so exciting. It sounds like, most importantly, the beginning of something really, really big.
Yes.
I look forward to welcoming you guys back here when this is like in its 30th edition and it's in hard copy in 9 different languages. Thank you for doing this for all people out there that are struggling with all of the misnomers, the miscommunication, the fake news that's out there surrounding COVID-19. It's a massive, massive help. So thank you, boys. Really, really good job.
Thank you.
Everything else, man.
Oh, yeah, it's been lekker.
Just a major pleasure to meet you guys, honestly. This is so cool. Would you get on phone?
Yeah, of course, you're still locked in at your Feel Good Breakfast Show. And here's a fun fact. Now, Grant Hines, as you've just seen in the intro, he's not only a tech guru, but also has a background in animation, and he studied art direction too. Now, this morning on Tech Thursday, of course, he's going to be taking us through some of we'll call it a drawing technique session. And I'm so keen to hear and see all about what Grant has in store for us. And I'm here to learn as well. So, Grant, how are you doing this morning, man?
I'm great. I'm great. This is one of my favorite things. Okay?
This is cool. I had no idea.
Yeah, no one knows this about me, but this is like one of my favorite hobbies that I get to do like at home.
So gaming and stuff's actually your career, and this is your passion.
So actually, funny story, how I got my first job was I studied for 3 years at a huge graphic design school, but on the way to school, I used to draw on a sketchbook on the train. And it just used to always be in my bag. My first job interview after college, I took the train to that job interview. They looked through my whole portfolio. I actually worked really hard, like at varsity. I won a Lurie at varsity. I was I'm going to be a creative director. And they looked through my portfolio and they're like, where are your drawings? And then I was like, oh, they're in my bag. And I pulled up this little crummy sketchbook and I sat with the director and the head storyboard artist and they're like, you're hired. And it just goes to show that your passions, that was the first job that I got out of college. And I was like, oh, so the thing that you're passionate about can get you work. And that was illustration.
So tell me, take me into your world, man. So obviously you got some skills and there's technique behind this. You're not just drawing out of your head. And I'm watching you behind the scenes just before we came on live, and I'm seeing all these crazy circles and ratio things that you're doing. What's going on here?
So drawing is actually not that hard. A lot of people look at this and they'll go like, wow, that's wild. How did you do that?
Where do you even start?
How do you even start? Drawing is actually just a series of few techniques that you do, and it's usually around shapes. When you're drawing people, you have to get your proportions right. So I've just done this very quickly. So everything on a human being is around your head. So you just do like the shape of your head will determine how wide your shoulders are apart. As you can see, your chest is generally like a head size over here.
Oh, I got you.
See that?
So this is like the golden ratios that you're applying to the body.
Yeah, exactly. So this will be like a circle over your chest, and then you have 3. So obviously Da Vinci stuff is way more intense. You know, that's what you're talking about, the golden ratio.
But with this being said, this is going to prevent me from trying to draw a beautiful picture of my mom and she ends up looking like SpongeBob.
Yes.
She'll actually be in proportion now.
Exactly. And then when you do shoulders, I'm doing somebody straight up here, but when you do shoulders, they always will be the other opposite direction to each other. So shoulders and hips will be like that. And then if I start, can you start seeing how I'm like the person I'm making now is starting to come to like have shape and form.
I'm seeing the structure taking shape.
And then you kind of just carve your way through this individual. If you want to have like different shapes for the different arms and the different, I'm doing a hand, quick. And then also hands, also like circles. And everything you draw, if you want to draw like a shark or a cat, it's all just shapes.
Yeah. So you've got the sort of the structure now. You've got that frame that you've designed.
Yeah.
What's the next step when it comes to drawing? Okay, cool. I've nailed it. I think this is how I want my outline to be. how do I what do you call it, fill it in, shading and all that stuff? What happens next? What's the next step?
So like what I've done here with this face is that I have firstly done an initial pencil line. When you're doing digital art, it's really cool. It's basically just pencils, and then I can just kind of flesh this character out the way I want to.
Starting to look like a bit of a Dragon Ball Z character.
Very, yeah. I was very inspired by anime. Thanks, SABC. You know, I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, and that was what
that stole so many hours of my life as well. Thank you.
So that's inspired a lot of the kind of art that I do, and then you start doing your inking. So that's your penciling, and then you start doing inking. Inking is usually your outlines that you have around your character. There's a lot wrong with this picture, but we are on TV, and we are kind of doing this.
Oh, I can't tell, so don't me.
And then once you've done the inking, you have your basic outline and shape. You start working on coloring. You don't even have to get to coloring. You might just want to leave it at the inking stage. But each of these different phases has a different skill set that requires. In the traditional comic book world, you'll have somebody that's literally a pencilist, an inker, and a colorist as separate jobs, so it'll go to different departments. But nowadays with technology, we're able to be able to do a lot of these disciplines on our own. And it's not that big a leap to go let me start coloring this.
You know what I also love about this, Grant? It's all digital. So we're being conscious about a paper that we're wasting. So you can erase right here, I'd imagine. You don't have to worry about using paper and paper.
100%. And then you can also transfer this onto different mediums. So I'm just going to quickly. This is we're going to just color this, and then coloring is quite a delicate process. It's actually probably one of the hardest ones. You have to work out lighting and shading and stuff. But I think throughout the duration of the show, I'll probably be doing a little bit on this character,
please.
And then you guys can have a look at it.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Grant Hines in the building, of course, and we will be doing some more tech features, some more tech updates, and you're going to want to stay with us because we've only just begun, of course. We'll see you soon.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked. You're about to get your just rewards. Singer, songwriter, and performer Lyle Anthony has been pursuing what sounds like the most exciting music career in the city of Angels in Los Angeles. He is now back in South Africa to spread some cheer with his latest feel-good singles, and Lyle returns to the floor right now to perform his upcoming single, My Forever. Take it away, buddy.
Expresso SABC3 for the first time. My upcoming single at the end of this month, My Forever, just for you. Come on. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Your touch keeps my heart beating like a honeybee needing its sting. And your eyes put a spell on me like some gold rings to its king. I can't control my feelings, baby, and be without you. I can't control it. I don't wanna have to compose my heart when I'm around you. I don't wanna contain it. I just wanna rearrange it. Don't wanna have to behave, yeah. I just want you to be my baby, my forever baby. Come on. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Hey. La 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 la. Your kiss keeps me yearning like the fire in my heart keeps it burning. For your love, for your joy, your peace, your happiness. And your smile, it lightens my world and it lights up my heart. The forever loving part of me. This love centers our hope and our being. I can't control my feelings, baby, and be without you. I can't control it. I don't wanna have to compose my heart when I'm around you. I don't wanna contain it. I just wanna rearrange it. Don't wanna have to behave, yeah. I just want you to be my baby, my forever baby, my forever baby, my forever baby, my forever baby. Come on. What you say? Say that loud. My forever baby. Thank you.
Oh, gentlemen, thank you so much. That is how you elevate your Thursday morning. Lila's going to be sticking around. We've got Love Wins, his brand new single, coming to you just a little bit later. The exclusives for the Expresso
Yeah,
Morning
baby.
Show. We love it. Thank you so much. Time now to get back into those news headlines.
Thank you very much, G-Man. Let's take a look at those news headlines. We start off here at home, where a new study by Stellenbosch University academics has found that offshore wind farms could potentially supply all of South Africa's electricity more than 8 times over. Gordon Ray and Gareth Airfoot of the Department of Mechanical and Mechatronic Engineering's report, published recently in the Journal of Energy in Southern Africa, is the first comprehensive assessment of South Africa's offshore wind energy resources. Now, the 6 most suitable regions for the development of offshore wind farms in South Africa include Richards Bay on the KZN North Coast, Durban and Struisbaai in the Western Cape. Higher Education Minister Blade Nzimande has sent a team of senior officials from his department to Wits University to establish the causes of instability at the institution. This following the death of a civilian by police attempting to disperse a student protest outside the Wits campus in Braamfontein. Students want the university to allow students who owe up to 150,000 rand to register and sign an acknowledgement of debt. But Wits management is unwilling, as it is owed some 1 billion rand in outstanding fees, and such a concession could render the university unsustainable. In international news, the coronavirus variant that first emerged in Britain and is now spreading internationally is 64% more deadly than pre-existing variants. This, according to a study published yesterday that confirms earlier advice to the British government. The variant, detected late last year, is one of several to have emerged in recent months from countries with large epidemics, raising the stakes in the race to rein in the pandemic. Now, findings from the study, led by the University of Exeter, were published in the British Medical Journal yesterday. Meanwhile, women account for a slightly smaller proportion of COVID-19 infections and deaths compared to men. An analysis by the World Health Organization in 28 African countries show. The analysis, based on COVID-19 gender-specific data provided by countries, found that although women account for around 41% of cases, this ranges from 31% in Niger over to 57% in South Africa, or rather over 57% in South Africa. Now, this is despite the fact that women accounting for a large part of the health workforce, placing them at higher risk of infection. In Africa, more than 95,000 healthcare workers have been infected with COVID-19. And now, news of animals' fate 10 years after Fukushima. Now, some 160,000 residents were instructed to abandon all and run when radiation clouds billowed from Japan's Fukushima nuclear plant 10 years ago. But two men, Naoto Mutsumara and Shakai Kato, they remained. For their love of animals, they would give up everything rather than consign them to starvation. Within the 12.5-mile exclusion zone around the damaged Fukushima nuclear reactor, the two men today live alone while taking care of dozens of stray animals left behind. Kato, who's 57 years old, has 41 cats in his home in the mountains, and he says he will care for them throughout their lives. And his generosity includes feeding local wild boars, considering pests by the government, or rather that are considered pests by the government. And Mutsumara says, he's 55 years old. He says initially he left the city, but then returned for his own animals. Then he realized that everyone else's pets and livestock were still there. So he began taking care of pigs, cats, dogs, ponies, ostriches, cows, despite the risk of contamination. Now, many pet dogs had not eaten in several days, and they were chained to trees. And what Kato and Mutsumara are doing is illegal, and police have ordered them to leave the area. And yet, seemingly, both of them, they couldn't be bothered by the demands, and both plan to stay there with the animals, come what may. It's a feel-good story to some extent. Here's a look at what's happening in the world of sports.
Lots to catch up on after some incredible midweek sporting action. Let's start here at home with rugby. The Lions beat the EP Elephants 54-24 at the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium to continue their winning form in the 2021 kick-off series yesterday. The team from Johannesburg scoring 8 tries to the Elephants 4 to secure their second win in the warm-up series. Then in our second match of the night, experienced Springbok Frans Steyn kicked a long-range penalty goal to seal a 39-38 win for the Cheetahs over the Sharks in an absolute thriller in Bloemfontein last night. Then keeping it local and continuing his unbelievable domestic form, Keshav Maharaj picked up 7 wickets and struck 89 from just 62 deliveries, hitting 11 fours and 3 sixes in the Dolphins' second innings to register an 86-run victory over the Lions in their CSA 4-day series. In other 4-day series results, the Titans forced to draw against the Knights, and the match between the Cape Cobras and the Warriors was unfortunately abandoned as a draw. That was after rain prevented any play on the final day of the match at Newlands in Cape Town. And staying in South Africa for Premier Soccer League action, which continued yesterday, Golden Arrows moved into second place on the log. That was after claiming a 2-1 win away over Chakuma Cha Madzivandila at the old Peter Mokaba Stadium in Polokwane. Now the results, Kaizer Chiefs drew 1-1 against Maritzburg United, now their 6th league game without a win. Stellenbosch FC then moved into 9th after seeing off Baraka FC 3-1, and then TS Galaxy continued their incredible form, defeating Black Leopards 3-1 down in Nelspruit. Staying with football, tabletoppers Manchester City bounced back from their 2-0 defeat at the hands of Manchester United to thrash Southampton 5-2 at the Etihad Stadium in the Premier League last night. Riyad Mahrez and Kevin De Bruyne both scoring twice as City opened up a 14-point gap at the top of the standings now. Pep Guardiola's side now have 68 points from just 29 games. That Premier Soccer League action will continue tomorrow. Then staying with the beautiful game in the UEFA Champions League last night, Liverpool and Paris Saint-Germain saw off their opponents to advance to the competition quarterfinals. Jurgen Klopp's men, who really shook off their league form, claimed a 2-0 win over German club RB Leipzig, winning 4-0 on aggregate, and PSG advancing 5-2 on aggregate after their round of 16 second leg clash against Spanish giants Barcelona ended 1-1. That's where we leave our sporting headlines for now. Let's get one more look at some of your beautiful sunrise pictures and take a look at the weather.
As we do every morning, we ask you to send through your sunrise pictures, and you have certainly pulled through. Mpho Kuchwane from Mahikeng shared this beautiful image of the skyline transitioning from the soft golden hues to blue. Your area will be mostly sunny and warm today with a maximum of 34 degrees Celsius. Leon Fenter from Sea Park, KZN, shared this photo of him enjoying the last of the summer weather while out on a morning fishing mission. Today's forecast will be partly sunny, breezy and humid. You can expect a couple of showers later in the day. Thank you so much for your stunning sunrise pictures. Please continue to share your sunrise photos with us on the Expresso Facebook page. We absolutely love seeing how you start your day in your part of the country. Now, while we do love our local viewers, as well as the fact that we have a growing international audience, we would like to send a shout out to. We are now giving a brief update on the weather for Jacksonville, Florida. It's the largest city by area in the United States and has a humid subtropical climate. Summers are hot and humid, while winters are warm to mild as well as quite dry. Today's forecast is set to be mostly sunny and nice. However, if you are headed to the beach, make sure to watch for unusual rough surf and rip currents. Your maximum will be 23 degrees Celsius. And now for some breaking space news. The Russian space agency Roscosmos yesterday said it had signed an agreement with China's National Space Administration to develop a space station with research facilities on the surface of the moon. This as Russia prepares to celebrate the 60th anniversary of its first ever manned spaceflight. The International Scientific Lunar Station will carry out a wide range of scientific research, including exploration and utilization of the moon, a statement from both agencies said. It added that both Russia and China will collaborate in the planning, design, development and operation of the research station, and that it would be available for use by other nations. Meanwhile, the United States has announced plans to return to the moon by 2024. The program, called Artemis, will see a man and woman step on the lunar surface in what would be the first landing by humans since 1972. Very, very interesting news. But now let's get into the temperatures for the day. If you find yourself at Polokwane, 40% chance of thunder showers is forecast. Partly cloudy conditions in Bombela with the highest temperature this Thursday, 37 degrees. Pretoria, the sun continues in your part of the country with a low of 19, reaching a high of 33. Josie Maboneng, the city of gold, do expect a high of 31 degrees. Mahikeng, you kick off the morning with a cool 17 degrees, reaching an afternoon high of 34. Klerksdorp, your maximum is 34 from a minimum of 15 degrees. It's a sunny day in Kimberley. Please do expect a maximum of 32 degrees. Bloemfontein also, you will enjoy some summer conditions. 30 degrees is your maximum. Richards Bay, your temperatures range from 22 to 31. Partly cloudy conditions in Pietermaritzburg with 25% chance of rain forecast. Durban, do expect some cold and wet conditions, with 64% chance of rain expected in your part of the country. Mthatha, 60% chance of rain is expected in your part of the country as well. Emondi, East London, 1922 with 56% chance of rain. Cradock, 1127. Gqeberha, 59% chance of rain is forecast. George, 61% rain also in your part of the country, and it continues straight to Cape Town at 60% chance of rain. And Worcester, wet conditions are also expected. Be on the lookout in your part of the country. 63% is expected. Sutherland, you cool off with a low of 10 degrees, reaching a high of 23. And Uppington, it's just a chilled summer's day in your part of the country with a minimum of 16, reaching a maximum of 33 degrees. Thank you so much for your stunning sunrise pictures. We'll have another look shortly after the top of the hour.
Right, so guess what it is? After all your skills
I'm really
this morning?
struggling. Ryle just comes and goes, I'm going to draw something on the tablet. That's a high piece of technology that you're using to, I don't know, what is this?
So you need to, it's very, very three-dimensional. So look at it as though there's a lot of depth, foreground.
Is it Bart Simpson as a motor car?
As a turtle.
As a turtle?
Yes. You're pretty good, actually.
There's a very big difference between a turtle and a motor car.
You know why you can't see it? Because I haven't gotten to the shading yet. So obviously we're going to still work on our shading. We're going to work on filling in and all those things. And you guys can tune in later, of course, where we're going to be finishing off this exquisite Bart Simpson turtle. But if you guys want to see the finished product, then you definitely want to stick around.
Go get your day job.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. You're live with Expresso. Time now for a lesson in business. And if you're an entrepreneur, I want you to sit up and listen. With an entrepreneurial track record that boasts 7 successful investments and only 2 failures, and I'm sure pretty critical failures at that, Swedish serial entrepreneur Carl Fredrik Semelli has 25 years of experience in business development, in sales, crisis management, innovation, and I love this, creative entrepreneurship.
I feel like this man has the answers to everything. Now, today we're getting to understand his vast career experience and methodologies just a little bit better as he joins us in studio to share more about his micro property development initiative, which is taking place in South Africa, and it's called the BitProp. Well, man, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
So good.
Very good. It's daunting talking to you because where do we even begin, my friend? Where do we begin? I know we will be talking about BitProp in a moment because it feels like it's garnering global recognition that you're doing something really special there. But I'm going to shelve that for a moment because I'm, as an entrepreneur operating in the social space, really want to know where it first began for you. When did you realize and identify that you had the creative skills, the knack, the fortitude to become an entrepreneur? And why has this become such a passion of yours to be that startup king?
I'm not sure, but I was 15, 16 years old in the northern part of Sweden where we have like 2 meters of snow now. And I was a fruit and veggie salesman.
Wow.
So I went out on the market.
Okay. Humble beginnings.
15, 16. So that was, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
I was a working class guy, and I started to do that. And I realized I like business, I like sales. And most people, at that time at least, they didn't. And they didn't acknowledge it. It wasn't like a nice work to do. But all you need that in everything you do. You need to like business and you need to understand sales. So there where it started. But then I started my first business when I was 27. I worked for another company and it didn't allow me to become an owner, even if I'm selling like 1/3 of the revenue in this business. Why can't you? No, you're too young. And then I said, okay, but then I start my own business. And that was, of course, a fantastic journey that started then when I was 27.
And the biggest history, as they say.
The biggest mistake, probably turning this man away.
Yeah,
and
I
saying,
would
"No,
imagine
you're
how
too
they
young."
feel about that now. Yeah.
So I've got to ask, man, it's been a decade of absolute magic for you. From the year 2010 to 2020, you kind of won like what we would call the World Cup of like PR advertising agencies. And you started a company called Prime, which is now Prime Weber Shandwick, right? So my question is, what are some of the highlights been that you've achieved over these years? I mean, this is an incredible feat. This is literally like the World Cups when it comes to PR agencies and advertising. So what have been some of those highlights through a decade long?
What are you most proud of? Yeah.
No, I think I was most proud of that we were consistently good at a few things at the same time, because it's quite easy to be good at one thing, but we were the most innovative agency year on year in this Cannes Lions, as it's called, like, and we at the same time we were the most attractive like employer for talented people who wanted to work for us, and at the same time we was the most profitable firm. And that's like, and if you can balance, and business is about balancing or target conflicts, like it's if you focus on one thing, it's quite easy to be good at it, but to be good at it over year and year, and that's like why grit and hard work and like consistency and long term is most successful entrepreneurs have that in them, and they also create a team around them that also have that grit to get it done. So it's like entrepreneurship is hard work, as everyone that has tried knows, and it's a lot of 80-hour weeks before. So I even had to emigrate to South Africa because my family was fed up. My wife said that this is enough. So then we ended in the new continent, and the ambition was like that I should be at home and with the kids and so on, but after 8
Chilling
weeks...
and retiring.
Exactly. But I was 40, that was too boring. So after 8 weeks, my wife said, no, you have to go back to work again.
You're just too good at what you do.
Yeah, at least you got the sunshine. I can just imagine you using a Liverpool analogy in your head to understand the team and how it works. And you know, why I use the word fortitude, because you've got to back yourself and you've got to have the strength to follow through. I'm glad you've come to South Africa, because here now you have launched a BitProp. Can you give us a bit of background into what you actually do, and why do you think this is garnering so much attention globally even now?
No, it's like we're tackling a global problem. Like before COVID, they predicted that 3 billion people will live in townships. And as after 2030, and probably now after COVID, it will be even more. So like 3 billion people has no dignity. They have not the infrastructure that we have. And of course, when you get to a new country like I did, like, okay, how can I do anything with my entrepreneurial skills, with innovation, with my money? Can I do anything to create? And then I started to give away title deeds, because I knew that, of course, if people own something, they take care of it and they develop it. And only 17% of world's population has title deed.
Wow.
The rest are like tenants. And if you own your stuff, you develop it, and you also create an asset. So most middle-class people, they are not rich, but they have a house. And that house is their like pension, that house is their security when they need a loan, when they need to start a business. So, and everyone in the developing world knows this, but how do you create that without funds? And that's the innovation of BitProp, that we are now combining like the ambition to give people title deed with the backyard rental tradition that you know more than me about. Like, you have backyard rentals everywhere when you have townships, because that's a revenue stream. Even people have a house, they move to the backyard and rent out the house.
Rent out the house, for sure.
Because money to food and schools is more important than where you live. So what we did, instead of focusing on the actual house where you live, we build now 4 or 8 units on the backyard, mostly for female homeowners, or they are like our partners in our systems. And traditionally that hasn't happened because banks doesn't trust people in that environment. But they have too low salary to qualify for a traditional home loan. But what we show the banks now, that it's like, this works. Like, we have built 34 of these units in Kailicha outside Cape Town, and people, tenants are paying, ladies are partnering with us and creating a fantastic revenue stream for them. Like the total amount that you get if you have 8 units can be between 10,000 Rand up to 25,000 Rand a month.
Which is life-changing.
It's life-changing, as you realize. Like many of these ladies, they earn 5,000 Rand on the traditional job, and then they add 10 to 25,000 Rand on top of that. Of course, they become middle class only through this. And that's like BitProp in an essence.
Absolutely amazing. In fact, I'd like to find out a little bit more, and we're going to do that right now.
Yeah, the thing is, this sort of story is incredible. It's empowering, it's life-changing, and we have to see how life-changing this property development being driven by Carl Frederick's company, BitProp Initiative, is for ourselves, right?
I agree with you, Uncle Tabsy. That's exactly why I met up with him in Khayelitsha, to learn more of what's happening on the ground.
Yeah.
The value of owning your own property and having your name on a title deed is incredibly valuable. But being able to do so when it comes to RDP houses in South Africa can prove to be extremely tricky. But we have learned how BitProp's mission is tackling this through their micro property development initiative. And now it's time to meet the people and hear the stories behind this groundbreaking work. Hello. Good, how are you? Oh, good, how are you? This is beautiful. I love it. Carl, I love the style and the feel of this development. I think it's really, really cool. Who does it belong to?
Louisa, she lives in that property, and then we have now built 8 units for her. So she is the landlord, taking care of 8 different families, mostly young professionals like teachers, police officers. These units creates nearly 25,000 Rand a month in rental revenue.
Wow.
So when she stops working of some reason, then she has still a unit, 8 units on her flat, because these will stand for forever.
And it's increasing the property value as well.
I would say that this property now is worth 1.6 million at least. You have a legacy like when you have a proper house. And this is a proper house with a revenue stream. And I'm part of the UNICEF like Global Advisory Board, and I've met a lot of UN people, and they said that that's very unique, because nearly all housing programs in the world are focusing on the main house.
You know, coming up with an idea is very easy, but the execution of the vision requires to work with people who know what they're doing. What has the experience been like working with your team?
We have had an amazing team. All from the beginning, when I met Prince and when I was mentoring him, he was a brilliant entrepreneur, and the deal we had that was I helped him to build his businesses if he helped me to find talented people. Now we will meet one of the architects, Sebastian Hitchcock, an amazing person that has created this together with Claire Dutroux.
This looks so cool, Sebastian.
Thank you.
And it's all you.
It's me and a team. We actually use local builders from Khayelitsha who have put this project together.
You won a prize at the SA Institute of Architects on your thesis, Affordable Rental Housing. What are some of the needs you've had to consider when it comes to backyarding?
Well, firstly, one of the things I realized was that this sort of development is happening all over South Africa and many of the developing communities around the country. And there's many ways of doing things, and our prerogative is much more to improve on these processes. How do we link a formal architect, better construction, better material supply to these landlords?
What are the features that you've had to add to make it comfortable for the tenants?
Our standard plan aims to really suit the tenants, either a single or a couple, sometimes even a family of 4. 22 to 25 square meters, ensuite bathroom. We have prepaid electricity, prepaid water, prepaid Wi-Fi, and really stress safety and a place to call home.
And now we're going to where it all started for you.
Yes. Here we started 2019, and this is our amazing landlord. Like, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Nice to see you.
Partnering with BitProp helped me a lot. Firstly, I wanted to have a side hustle, but but it was impossible for me. That's where Bitprop came in. They provide everything. The cost of everything is from them, and they made it easy for me for paying them back. Working with tenants for the first time was a challenge. I don't want to lie, because this is my space and my family, and I'm not used to the other people, but we get along. They must trust me to share ideas and to not to be scared of talking to me about anything. If they are not happy, they are feel free to come to me, and I always want to make sure that they are welcomed and they feel at home here.
Please tell us more about the backyarding expansion in RDP homes and how one can make it profitable.
What we've done with our model, that we use the backyard tradition that is in South Africa and all over the world, like where people build around their house. But what we do is we formalize it. We do it in an industrialized scale. What we now do is we bring in private money to create the infrastructure that gets a fantastic life for the landlord, the lady. Even the tenants get better housing with separate bathroom, separate kitchenette. So the quality of life for her and the tenants goes up. And then also, because we have the ambition to secure the title deed, she gets a real asset that she owns. The dignity you have to have paper on what you actually own, to have a title deed. So this is also a dream of like giving the opportunity to poor people to own their own land. And that will be an institutional change that is fundamental for the world, because you have a revenue stream on her backyard, and we can use the revenue stream to get her also the title.
Which areas have shown interest in partnering with Bitprop's micro property development?
During 2021, we will completely focus in on Khayelitsha, Cape Town, to like expand here and to show this in big scale. And then we have showcased that this is scalable. And then we can take any township in South Africa, and beyond that we want to take Kenya, other countries where we have exactly the same problem.
There have been many key players in executing this vision of land reform, property development and economic empowerment that has been championed by Bitprop. It's a brilliant model that can help lead the way in addressing access to title deeds and rental incomes for low-income people in our country.
I mean, how's that?
Stunning.
Changing lives, empowering people, putting those title deeds in their pockets, in their hands, and really just transforming what the economy looks like in that space and how people can participate in that way. I love it.
Contributing to economic transformation and also empowering women, seeing as the majority of partners with Bitprop are women, and we're all here for that. So make sure to keep it locked on your Feel Good Breakfast show, because we also continue the conversation around property and renting with our friend-in-law, Eitan Stan. You don't want to miss out.
Here's to you, Mzansi. Combine multiple loans into one with one affordable repayment. Get a Nedbank personal loan. Apply at nedbank.co.za/personal loans.
Yes, you beautiful souls, welcome back. Of course, it's SABC3. We are live and it is your Expresso show. Now, before the break, we learned about how micro property development initiative, BitProp, is creating entrepreneurs out of homeowners in Khayelitsha. And now these homeowners are having, well, they're essentially becoming property managers and landlords on top of it. And they're recognizing that a good tenant and client relationship is the key to a harmonious environment. Now, however, renting property can often leave room for some avoidable conflict.
Now we're calling on, once again, upon the legal guidance of our friend and expert in law, director at legalese.co.za, Eitan Stern, to answer the question, I want to rent property, so now what?
Good question. The BitProp thing's amazing.
Very, very amazing.
How are you doing this morning, Eitan?
I'm well.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
very
always
good.
good to have your expertise.
100%.
Nice for it to be called expertise.
Eitan, my beef with property,
Yes.
okay, in my years of renting
Yes.
property, why do I need to pay deposit? What is the function of a deposit? Particularly in Cape Town, it's very common to pay a 2 months deposit prior moving into the apartment.
As well as those admin fees on top of it, by the way. Like, what is that? All these hidden costs.
So look, everything that you find in rental is going to be a balance between the rights of the landlord, the property owner, and the rights of the tenant. Why do we pay a deposit? Well, a deposit is paid so that the landlord has some money as security in case something gets damaged. So if you break a window or damage something in the place, they've got something to fix it. They don't have to fight you for the money. Why do you pay the admin fee that's often charged on top of the deposits? But often there's a third party involved, an estate agent, and the estate agents charge a little bit extra in order to cover the contract fees. My personal opinion is that those could be, you could probably try to scratch those out in the lease. It's not really an agreement between the landlord and the tenant, but of course the estate agent might disagree. But if there's no estate agent in the picture, there really shouldn't be an admin fee. But the deposit, that's always going to be, they're going to want that.
So if we didn't know any better, then I wouldn't even question it. So I've really got a good tip there. Thank you so much. So I've got to ask you, like, when it comes to, obviously we've paid that deposit.
Yes.
And often it requires us to at least give some notice when we're leaving the place or plan to do something else. So what constitutes a good, fair amount of warning to say, okay, cool, let's say, is a month notice enough? And what constitutes that? Like, I mean, can I say on the 15th of March, here's my month notice and I'm ready to leave by the next 15th of March? Does it have to be the start of calendar month? How does it work exactly?
So the best thing the best advice I can give on this question is that with most questions, 90% of the questions, the answer is going to be, what does it say in the contract? So you need to go and have a look at your lease agreement and see what your lease says. And your lease is going to say how much notice is needed. So your lease might say you need to give 30 days, which is any 30 days, the 15th to the 15th, or a calendar month, which is always going to be the first until the last day of the month. So if you give note, if it says a calendar month and you give notes on the 15th, it's only effective from the 1st of the next month. So you need to look in your lease, and you also need to look what type of notice it needs. Does it need it in writing? Can it be a phone call? Generally, it's going to be in writing.
Read your lease. Don't just sign that thing, please.
Read the lease and keep it. So because if any questions, a lot of the questions we get from renters, the answer is just read the lease, see what it says.
And it's very easy for us to briefly go through the release because we are in a quick rush to move into a different apartment. So we overlook so many things, such as the calendar month, some terms that you don't understand, etc. But one thing that I also would like to understand is, why is it very difficult for some landlords to give back your deposit once you've submitted, your month's notice in advance according to the lease agreement?
Okay, so landlords are supposed to give back they're supposed to keep the deposit and give it back once they've ensured everything is fixed. They are not allowed to keep it for longer than that. So they've got about 30 days, I think is the standard, to be able to say, look, we've checked the apartment and now we give them it back. If they're keeping it for longer, then they're stealing it, and that's not allowed. Often tenants want it earlier so they can pay the next deposit, but that wouldn't work because the landlords need to make sure that nothing's broken before they give it back. So once you move out, if it hasn't been returned after 30 days, then you need to go to your landlord and say, what's going on? This is now theft.
Beautiful stuff. Eitan Stern in the building. Of course, we will be back with some more info and more on this hot topic about, I'm a homeowner, so now what? And we'll be finding out a little bit more about that. But let's find out what's happening with the boys in our social media question about what your favorite winter meal is.
So now you've got your home.
Yes.
Winter's setting in.
Yes.
It gets colder and colder. And you're starting to think, what do I do in my home in this cold?
And I'm hungry.
And I'm hungry. We asked you the question.
We put it to you guys. What's your favorite cold weather food? We've already whipped up something beautiful, that tomato soup with cheese toasty.
That
Get
was
out
so
of here.
good. I just had it now.
Of course you
Only
did.
now.
Of course you did.
I just had it. So good.
But let's see what you guys at home are getting through those cold winter months with. What are your favorite go-to dishes in winter?
Well, the first one's from Michelle Jerums, who says chicken and corn soup. Oh, you can never go wrong with corn soup. And it says with extra garlic and chili. You're my girl, Michelle. We literally make it once a week, if not twice, during winter. My whole family is crazy about it. Yes, and rightfully so. That is a meal.
Vanessa Peterson saying cabbage food.
Yes.
Oh, the best.
You see, what we made the other day with Chef Clem yesterday was fantastic. It was cabbage food. And you can never go wrong with cabbage.
Was it good enough to get a show? Then CMA Tlatswai was saying, good morning, Expresso fam, blah, blah, blah. I love beef stew and dumplings. Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Get out.
What do you say her name is? Kama? And then Linda Natty says cottage pie. That is a traditional one for winter.
You're in luck.
Yes, yes, you are, because say no more. We're making it in the kitchen right now, Raul and Iman.
Say no more. Of course, myself and Elama are here in the kitchen. We are about to do something special. And you know it's the perfect rendition for winter. It's the perfect meal to warm up the soul, warm up the body, and get those winter vibes going into complete overdrive, of course. Now, I've got to say one thing about cottage pie is that it's made with love, made with flavor, and it's full of ingredients to make anyone happy from the inside out. And now it's rich, meaty, tasty. And of course, I'm saying no more. I want to get stuck into it. Elama, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good, Lyle. How are you?
I'm so good, so excited. This is like a traditional home meal for me. At home, my mom always used to make this, and I knew like I'm getting warmed up tonight. This is excitement for me.
I think like everyone grew up eating either cottage pie or like shepherd's pie, you know. And shepherd's pie obviously is made with lamb or mutton, but it's such a like wholesome meal, and you just feel like so good after eating it. And it's like the definition of comfort.
Exactly that, and I think it's because it's made with all that love. So I'm asking you specifically to help me and the rest of Mzansi figure out how to put the most love into this meal as we can.
Okay, so we've got some onions already sauteing in our pot, and we're going to add our mince because we want that to brown and caramelize really nicely.
Ooh, yes.
And you know, the thing with mince, I actually love mince because it's such a versatile protein.
Right, yeah, you can do so much with it.
Appreciate that.
I definitely do. I mean, you can make it into a burger or like frikadelle or pastas and stews, anything.
So then we're going to add our garlic. And then we've got some carrots and some mushrooms here. Now you can add any veg that you like. So you can do carrots, celery, even leeks, peas, you know, any type of vegetable that you want.
So you can get creative and add your favorites in here if you definitely have any of those.
And it's a really good way of sneaking in those veggies. You know, most people...
Especially for the kids. You know, they don't want to do their veg. That's actually a brilliant way, especially after me seeing, and I know I'm jumping the gun here, but in front of me I see some cheese, and that's always the best mask for any veg that you need to get in when it comes to your kids.
Exactly. Well, yeah, if it's covered with cheese, then who's going to know, right? Okay.
So how are we looking over there? We've got is it the mushroom? You've got the carrot, you've got the mince.
Carrot, mince, onion, and then our garlic. And then we're going to add some stock.
Okay, yeah, some more of that loving. This is some of that secret stuff. The stock is always the good stuff.
Stock, yeah, that adds a lot of extra flavor. And then we've got some chopped tomatoes. So normally, you know, you would let this simmer on a low heat, and that simmering really just brings out the flavor and allows all of that flavor to develop over time. Okay. And then we've got to add some seasoning as well. So let's just add some salt and some pepper.
It's quite interesting. I noticed when you actually started the meat, you didn't actually put any seasoning in to start with, right?
No.
Just straight in the pan, and then you add the garlic and
you know, I find with mince especially, you just, if you add, so you can add something like salt, but with pepper, especially if you're adding pepper on meat, it can burn, and then it actually ends up, you know, getting quite smoky.
The pepper itself burns?
The pepper itself.
Oh, so then you're obviously dramatically changing that flavor profile too. All right, some nice tips coming here from Lam in the kitchen, of course. Stay tuned. We've got more coming at you.
So we've got our meat mixture here. So it's just simmering. Okay. So what we would actually ideally do is let that simmer for about maybe 30 to 40 minutes so that the sauce can reduce, and that, you know, once the sauce reduces and the tomato cooks through, it will just like the color will change. It will become like this nice deep sort of red color.
Yes.
Which I think is the best part of that cottage pie, is that mince. And then we've also got some nice potatoes, a mash that's going to go over the top. So I'm actually just going to add the herbs in.
Okay.
Because we're going to finish cooking our cottage pie in the oven.
And I've got to say, while this is going on, it's smelling absolutely delicious. I'm getting all those little flavors coming through now from the heat, I think. So it is looking ready. So after about 30 to 45 minutes, this would be good to pop into our Petri dish? Or?
Yeah, we've got a nice oven-proof dish here.
Okay.
So, you know, something that's going to be able to, let me just use this, something that's going to be able to withstand the heat.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should.
Yeah, why not? Be like Chef Clem. We always go wild in the kitchen. Make a mess, why not?
Yeah.
Nice, good form. Oh, it's looking good.
So this will just continue to cook in the oven. Obviously, ideally, we would like to, you know, let it be fully cooked so that before we put it into the oven. And then we've got some mash here, which we are going to put on the top. And then we're going to cover it with the cheese, which hides everything.
All our fears, all the things we are afraid of. And of course, this is looking absolutely delicious. And I did not realize it was actually this easy. My mom would spend like hours in the kitchen, probably pretending like she's cooking, maybe, I don't know. And all this time, it's actually
trying to get away from you. I don't know.
Mom, I'm on to you. I see you. Well, of course, Ilam, thank you so much. I'd imagine we're topping this off, putting some cheese on, and straight back into the oven?
Straight back into the oven. We want a nice, you know, really crunchy topping. And I feel like that's the best part of anything with cheese. You really want that nice crust when you dig into it. So we're just gonna like go over with this. So we get a really nice crunchy topping on our cottage pie.
There you have it, Mzansi. Of course, it's the perfect winter treat, the perfect meal to kill those winter blues, of course, and you saw right here on expressoshow.com. Head over to our website, of course, if you want some more recipe inspiration and some more belly-warming magic.
Making it to 2021 is a triumph. So celebrate with Immuenza and stand a chance to win 5,000 Rand weekly for 5 weeks. Now keep boosting your immune system with Immuenza and tell us your survival story and what protected you from, say, a lion attack to a parachute fail. We want to hear your amazing stories. Reply to Immuenza's competition post on Afternoon Express's Facebook or Twitter pages. And note that this competition runs until midnight, the 17th of March 2021. T's and C's can be found on afternoonexpress.co.za.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
More legalese expertise as we continue our discussion with lawyer and director at legalese.co.za, Eitan Stern, as he breaks down the legal ins and outs of renting property in our country. We've all been through nightmare situations, I think, as renters and rentees. But Eitan, thanks for breaking this down for us, because it can be a source of massive anxiety for on both sides of that fence, I would imagine, especially during these uncertain COVID times where people have been struggling to pay. So what's the deal here? What can actually happen if you don't pay your rent on time? Can you be evicted? And for that matter, what are the things that can lead to an actual eviction? What can force a landlord to say, okay, you're out?
What needs to have happened first?
Sure. So if you don't pay your rent, or if you don't do anything that it says in the lease agreement, then it's considered breach of contract. If you breach a contract is going to have a clause which says what happens if it's breached. And generally, you have a few days to rectify that. If you don't rectify that, then you can be evicted. So if you don't pay your rent, your landlord's going to say, you've got 5 days or 7 days to pay. If you don't pay after that, they're going to say, I'm sorry, you've breached it. We're now cancelling this contract, and then you need to be out.
So what is the process then of eviction? Because surely, do they say, you got 5 days, and on Friday I'm coming, hi, get out?
Cool. So it's a great question and really important in South Africa, where there is a kind of history of abuse, and the law.
Thinking of the red ants.
And the law is there to kind of protect the weaker parties in a lot of situations. So no, a landlord can't just say, look, you're on the street. In order to evict someone, you have to go through a process. The process is relatively complex, potentially too complex. You have to go to the courts, you have to get a court order, and you have to essentially get serve this order. And there's a couple of steps in order to evict someone. So you can't just say to someone, you're out by Friday, and then kick them out to the streets. Of course, on the flip side, that can be abused. Then people say, well, it's very hard to evict me, I'm not going to leave. But they need to remember, if you go through that process, you can be pinned with all the legal fees that it costs to kick you out. So there's definitely a balance. People shouldn't kick people out into the street without enough notice, but also people shouldn't stay in other people's houses without
paying for it. Then what can your landlord do in the instance that you actually haven't paid your rent and they obviously can't get you out on the streets? Can they turn off your lights and your water and do stuff like that and just randomly rock up to the house?
Guerrilla warfare,
do all sorts of things to make you so uncomfortable that you actually don't have to be evicted by them, you'll evict yourself.
So no, legally speaking, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to switch off the water, you're not allowed to switch off the lights. These would be a breach to someone's rights, essentially.
Living conditions,
basic kind of living conditions. So you definitely can't do that. You have to go through the correct procedure. If someone doesn't pay, you give them notice, and you start the eviction process if they refuse to leave after that. But no, you can't just switch off the lights on people.
For that matter, outside of the kind of, obviously trying to force your hand space, how much leeway does a landlord have? Can they change track? Can they change the rent kind of power, maybe take away some of the property in the midst of your kind of lease?
So a great question. A landlord, so no, everything is governed by this lease agreement. So I'm going to keep stressing it. Whatever it says in the lease agreement, both parties are agreeing to. And a landlord and a tenant has to pay its rent and has to pay on time. In exchange, the landlord has to give what they said they would give. So can't make the property smaller, can't suddenly say, well, look, we need a bigger deposit, we're up in the rent. It doesn't say they can do it in the lease agreement, they can't. Where the lease comes to an end, the terms can be changed. So the landlord would say, look, I'm only going to enter into a new lease with you if we agree to a higher rental. But what's agreed, what's on paper is on paper during that lease.
Well, the beauty of this entire conversation is that it's all really just rooted in this one master document, the lease document and the agreement, which you all have to really read and go through and make sure you understand up front, because in the absence of that, it's very tricky to be able to get yourself into some muddy waters there. So hopefully that's helped you a lot. Eitan, thank you so much for that.
My pleasure.
We turn our gaze now to a conversation that is very inclusive of everyone. Those that work and dream to shape our future recognize that at the core of transformation and progression is the inclusion of women. We know that women are the channels for economic productivity in this country. So what are we doing to ensure that we call out gender bias and inequality? This is what's being confronted under the theme of #ChooseToChallenge that was issued for this past International Women's Day, and award-winning digital marketer and international speaker and podcaster Lebo Lion joins us right now via video call to share how we can all embody this message. Lebo, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me, Gutle. This is a really important conversation, and I'm really excited to have it with you.
And I want everyone else of all sexes, of all genders, of all ages to also engage in this conversation. But we're going to take it back and talk about you for a second. You started your own tech company at the age of 24. That's big. What sorts of learning curves have you come across that you now apply in your PR and marketing agency?
You know, starting a tech company at the age of 24 was hectic for me because I didn't know what I was doing. I was doing it solely on passion. And, you know, I learned over time that passion is not enough to help you succeed or to help you run a successful business. And I think the greatest thing that I learned in tech and having a tech company is knowing how to stand my ground and believe in my voice in a room full of people who don't see me as an adequate player in the industry. You know, there aren't a lot of women in the industry. Female voices are almost non-existent in these spaces. You have to fight. You know, you really have to believe in yourself. You really have to say, listen to me. And you have to have the courage to have people looking at you, to have people holding you at a higher standard, and to be able to perform at that level time and time and time again. So I think having that company really gave me a backbone. You know, it made me exercise all the things that I was taught as a young woman, you know, in high school and at home, to believe in myself, to have the courage to speak. Being in that industry taught me how to do that, because you can't survive if you don't know how to speak for yourself and to believe in your own voice, you know? And even when you're wrong, just having the courage to say, I'm wrong, but I still belong here. I think I learned how to do that through having a tech company.
I love that. And it's very important to learn those principles for yourself at such a young age to avoid what we understand as imposter syndrome, where you feel like you don't belong in a certain place because of your gender, or your skin color, or because you feel like you're inadequate because you're not receiving the same respect as, you know, your counterparts or your colleagues. And I can imagine, especially in the tech space. But now I want to bring it back to International Women's Day. Why do you think this year's theme of #ChooseToChallenge is very appropriate and necessary in 2021?
I mean, we're coming from a Me Too movement. We're coming from a time when Black women's voices, just in general, are being amplified online and on media channels in a way that they've never been amplified before. And so in doing that, it's been able to expose stories about the challenges that women are facing in the world. And that's also challenged the media, and it's challenged organizations to say, okay, how do we treat women in our organizations? Are we creating an environment that's easy for them to work in, that's fair, that's inclusive? It's really calling on people in power to think about how they do things, to think about the culture in their businesses, and to change it to impact society in a better way, you know? So I think the Choose to Challenge hashtag is also really appropriate, because you're seeing that the new generation of women are fearless. You know, they're not afraid to speak their piece. They're not afraid to call truth to power. And so they're not willing to work in organizations or be part of movements that don't allow them to express themselves, you know? So I think it's almost showing the work that's been done by your people like Oprah and women in the Me Too movement. It's highlighting the impact of that, but it's also celebrating the fact that, you know, the new generation of women are fearless. They're not afraid to speak. And so we have to have environments that actually foster a space that allows women now to be who they are born to be, and to enact their talents and everything else that they want to do in those spaces.
A big shout out to you for using that platform, your platform, to drive these conversations, to catalyze change within our society, because what we tend to forget is the inclusion of Black people into society, the inclusion of women into society is not stepping backwards. Instead, it's progression, and we are elevating to a whole different level that would be a great space for humans to just live. But now, before we wrap up our conversation, Lebo, I need to ask your advice, you know, on the kinds of strategies you can share with future female leaders as pioneers on how they can challenge the status quo.
You know, I have a segment on my Instagram called The Family Meeting. And this is basically a gathering of anybody who feels like they want to challenge the status quo, anyone who feels like they want to soar in their lives, anyone who feels like they want to improve their lives in one way or another. We meet weekly to have conversations about the things that make us uncomfortable, or the challenges that we're facing in society, you know. And I'd say one of the most underrated ways to overcome challenges in society, or to even overcome your own fears, is to have conversations with other people who are trying to do the same thing. And that's the beauty of social media. Those conversations allow us to connect. And when you connect, you even find that you might know somebody from that group that you've joined on Facebook or wherever the case may be, who's actually in your organization, who could help you with the challenge that you're facing at work or wherever you may be. So for me, it's have conversations. Don't be afraid to talk about the things that you're facing, because if you're afraid to talk about them, then you're never going to be able to fix them and really confront them and get the help that you need to fix those things. So I think 2021 is the year of being brave. And by being brave, we mean it's about talking. It's about asking for help. It's about being part of communities that are progressive and that are impacting society in the right way. It's a different way to be bold. It's a different way to be courageous. And it's a different way to stand out. It's a way of doing good. And in doing that, you are able to achieve the things that you want to achieve.
We are already within an entire global pandemic, so why not challenge the systems that are put in place for a better outcome for everyone? Lebo Lion, thank you so much for coming through and sharing your experience and expertise here on your Feel Good Breakfast show. Where can we get you on social media so that we could also be a part of the family meeting?
Thank you for having me, Kuhle. If you want to get in touch with me or engage in any of my content, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, every single social media platform at Lebo Lion, lion like the animal _SA, at Lebo Lion _SA.
Women, everybody, children, go out there and be fearless and challenge the status quo.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Well, I just want to welcome you all back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso, here on SABC3 Grant Hines. I want to draw as well, but I'm not having any luck.
I want to show you a trick.
Okay.
So this technology is really exciting. I want you to draw on the piece of, draw a line and draw it very softly.
Oh, softly.
Draw a line. Okay, can you see the line? That's a pencil. You've chosen the pencil. Now, I want you to press it, draw another line and press it hard.
Oh, wait.
Now you're getting the hang of it. What are you drawing? This is what you used to write on the locker.
I'm showing other things now. Well, it's time for us to actually check in with Uncle Tabs in the news headlines. Did you see I was trying to draw news?
What's the news?
How impressive. Honestly, super impressive. Let's start off with the news here in South Africa. Eskom started implementing stage 2 load shedding yesterday afternoon at 5 p.m. and said it would continue at least until 11 p.m. tomorrow because of its generation capacity, which is reported to be severely constrained. Continued poor performance at the Kusile, Duba and Tukuta power stations, as well as delays in returning some other units to service and breakdowns during the week, have necessitated the need for load shedding. Eskom said that the load shedding period until tomorrow would be used to replenish emergency generation reserves, and the probability that load shedding will continue throughout the weekend is very high. Brace yourselves. A new study by Stellenbosch University academics has found that offshore wind farms could potentially supply all of South Africa's electricity more than 8 times over. Gordon Ray and Gareth Erfurt of the Department of Mechanical and Mechatronic Engineering's report, published recently in the Journal of Energy in Southern Africa, is the first comprehensive assessment of South Africa's offshore wind energy resources. And the 6 most suitable regions for the development of offshore wind farms in South Africa include Richards Bay on the KZN North Coast, Durban and Struisbaai in the Western Cape. Meanwhile, in international news, the International Organization for Migration says there are more than 131,000 people displaced in 39 accessible locations in Ethiopia's Tigray region. Now, the organization says many of the displaced, including women and children, are in need of emergency shelter, food and access to clean drinking water. The northern Tigray region has been the center of a conflict between the federal government and its former ruling party, the Tigray People's Liberation Front. Corona news: the coronavirus variant that first emerged in Britain and is now spreading internationally is 64% more deadly than pre-existing variants. This is according to a study published yesterday that confirms earlier advice to the British government. Now, the variant detected late last year is one of several to have emerged in recent months from countries with large epidemics, raising the stakes in the race to rein in the pandemic. Now, findings from the study led by the University of Exeter were published in the British Medical Journal yesterday. And now some local exciting news. News of a South African student winning an international opera contest. Sazi Gaba, a 22-year-old music student at the University of Fort Hare in the Eastern Cape, is making a name for himself as an opera singer internationally. He has bagged top spot in an international US opera online singing competition. Yeah, listen to that, by winning the Emerging Artists category in the Aspiring Opera Singers Voice competition. Now, he finished ahead of 121 submissions from around the world. And now this comes 2 months after Sazi was crowned winner of the Voices of SA International Opera 2020 online competition in the under 22 category. Now, he says he saw the competition on Facebook and he decided to take part, adding, I quote, "There were many people participating from around the world, and truly, I didn't think I was going to make it this far." And he said the competition took a fortnight of judging by the Mexican-American soprano Vanessa Vaquera and the American baritone Luis Alejandro Orozco. Now, Sazi wasn't a fan of opera music at primary school, but after his English teacher forced him to join the school choir, he never looked back, and that's good that he didn't. That's where we leave it for this morning. Here's a final look at what's happening on the fields with Graham.
Thanks so much, Tubbsy. Plenty to catch up on in our midweek sporting update. Let's start with rugby here at home. The Lions beat the EP Elephants 54-24 at the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium to continue their winning form in the 2021 kickoff series yesterday. The team from Johannesburg scoring 8 tries to the Elephants' 4 to secure their second win in the warm-up series. Then in our second encounter, experienced Springbok Frans Steyn kicked a long-range penalty goal to seal a 39-38 win for the Cheetahs over the Sharks in a thriller in Bloemfontein last night. Then keeping it here in South Africa for cricket, continuing his brilliant domestic form, Keshav Maharaj picking up 7 wickets and then struck 89 from 62 deliveries, hitting 11 fours and 3 sixes in the process in the Dolphins' second innings to register an 86-run victory over the Lions in their CSA 4-day series. In other 4-day series results, the Titans forced a draw against the Knights, and the match between the Cape Cobras and the Warriors was abandoned as a draw. That was was after rain prevented any play on the final day of the match at Newlands Down in Cape Town. Then staying in South Africa for football, Premier Soccer League action continued yesterday with Golden Arrows now moving into second place on the log after claiming a 2-1 win away over Chakuma Chamazivandila at the old Peter Makabe Stadium in Polokwane. In other results, Kaizer Chiefs, they drew 1-1 against Maritzburg United, their 6th league game without a win. Stellenbosch FC moved into 9th after seeing off Baroka FC 3-1, and TS Galaxy continued their incredible run of form by defeating Black Leopards 3-1 in Nelspruit. Then staying with the beautiful game, table toppers Manchester City bounced back to winning ways after their 2-0 defeat to Manchester United to thrash Southampton 5-2 at the Etihad Stadium in the English Premier League last night. Riyad Mahrez and Kevin De Bruyne both scoring twice as City open up now a 14-point gap at the top of the standings. So Pep Guardiola's side have 68 points from 29 games. And their Premier League action will continue tomorrow. And then finally, in the UEFA Champions League last night, Liverpool and Paris Saint-Germain, they saw off their opponents to advance to the competition quarterfinals. Jurgen Klopp's men claimed a 2-0 win over German club RB Leipzig, winning 4-0 on aggregate, and PSG advancing 5-2 on aggregate after their round of 16 second leg clash against Spanish giants Barcelona ended 1-1. And that's where we leave our sporting headlines for this Thursday morning. Let's get one last look at the weather.
Thank you so much, Dee, for the final sports update. It's time for us to get into the final look at your stunning sunrise photo. Thank you so much to all of you that took the time this morning to share your sunrise pictures with us. We absolutely love seeing how you start your day. We kicked off the morning with Kathy Robbins' image from Makasa and Vincent Luthuli from Umgababa in KZN. At 7 a.m., we shared this beautiful skyline taken by Mpho Kutswane from Mahikeng. And last but not least, Leon Fenter's picture from Sea Park in KZN. Now, while we do love interacting with our local viewers, we also want to include our international viewers as well, who are currently tuned in on YouTube and the Africa channel. Wrapping up your weather today, we are giving a brief update on the weather expected in Houston, Texas. It's the 6th most populous city in the United States of America. The climate is classified as humid, subtropical, and while it's not located in the tornado alley like much of northern Texas, thunderstorms sometimes do bring tornadoes to the area. Today will be a partly cloudy day with a maximum of 26 degrees Celsius. Bring it back down south to Upper Mzansi. A bout of heavy rains and intense tropical storm and La Nina have concocted the perfect mix for South Africa's average dam levels to be more than 20% higher compared to the same time last year. The Department of Water and Sanitation said yesterday that dams in the country now average at 86.4%, significantly better than last year's 56.6% average. The department says the integrated Vaal River system, which consists of 14 dams, has especially benefited from the rains. In Gauteng alone, the Vaal Dam is at 105%, Stadfontein Dam at 97%, Groot Draai Dam at 101%, and Bloemhof Dam at 103%. Tropical Storm Eloise receives most of the credit for the higher dam levels, with the department saying it's enabled provinces such as KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, Limpopo, and Free State to reach full capacity overnight. Not all provinces have benefited as much from the recent rains, with large parts of the Eastern Cape continuing to experience dry conditions, with dam levels having dropped at an alarming rate. The Nelson Mandela Bay region is suffering the most, with the Algoa water supply system recording 16% capacity this week. Here's a final look at the temperatures. 40% thunderstorms expected in Polokwane. Bombela, your temperatures range from a low of 21, reaching the highest temperature in the country, 37 degrees Celsius. It's a sunny day in Pretoria with a maximum of 33. Jozi Maboneng also expected a maximum of 31 degrees. Partly cloudy conditions in Mahikeng, rather. Your temperatures range from 17 to 34. Klerksdorp, you peak at 34 from a low of 15. Kimberley, it's a sunny day in your part of the country, 15:32. Bloemfontein, 11:30. Richards Bay, mostly sunny, reaching a high of 31 degrees. Pietermaritzburg, 25% chance of rain is forecast in your part of the country. It continues down to Durban, and 64% chance of rain forecast. Tata, you're also experiencing some rain, 60% chance of rain. East London, 56% chance of rain. Cradock, 11.27 are your temperatures. Gqeberha will also be experiencing some rain at 59%. George, 15.22. Cape Town, the mother city, do expect some wet conditions, 17.23. Worcester, 63% chance of rain is forecast. 13 is your low, reaching a high of 25. Sutherland, you range from 10, reaching a high of 23. And last but not least, Uppington kicks off the morning with a minimum of 16, reaching a maximum of 33 degrees. This was the final look at your stunning sunrise pictures and the weather forecast for the day. Remember to have yourselves a feel-good kind of day, but from the earth to outer space.
It's your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso, and the space race, it is on, and the front runner appears to be none other than Elon Musk's SpaceX and his Starship project. He's reshaped the auto industry, and he's already doing the same for space travel. And science engagement astronomer from the observatory, Dr. Daniel Kanema, joins us to tell us all about the Starship project. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning.
So, Dr. Daniel Kanema, I'd like to ask you, first and foremost, let's start there. What is SpaceX's Starship? Let's start.
So basically what they're doing with Starship is they've already mastered the art of, with the Falcon 9, landing the booster again, making these reusable boosters. And that was a game changer for space. Basically, if you can reuse the rocket, it makes it a lot cheaper, as you can imagine. So what they've done with Starship is taken that to the next step. And they're building a ship, much like you would imagine, you know, a child's ship or something in a movie, something that can sort of take off, fly around, and then land again. So most of the rockets we know about that NASA's been building, things that went to the moon, it was a huge rocket, and then a small part of it at the top is what landed and sort of returned home. Now the entire rocket will return home.
Now, I feel like you've already told us what makes it different, but I feel like there is more to it with, you know, what will make SpaceX different from other spacecrafts.
Yeah, so I think that it is definitely very special. It's not something which has really been attempted before, and it's very, very difficult to get right. So trying to land something vertically after sort of taking off, going up into space and coming back down, there's a lot that has to go into it. Entering through the atmosphere again, you have to have heat shields, you have to be able to slow yourself down. You know, like we saw a few weeks ago, landing on Mars, there were various things that had to happen, parachutes and heat shields and all of these things which slowly got shed off as the spacecraft slowed down. Now all of that has to be on one ship. It has to be completely reusable, and it has to be kind of safe for human landing. And to have that in one package is really kind of futuristic. It's not something that we've even attempted before. NASA's current projects to get people to the moon, they aren't using this kind of technology. It's very, very difficult to get right.
You know, I feel like pop culture has fed us this concept for ages. So it almost feels like not a unique idea, but the practicality is now coming to life. So what's Starship's end goal? And when does he hope to put people inside the spaceship? Because that's the exciting part. If you do have anybody in your life and you say you want space, you just go to Elon Musk. So when is that happening?
Soon, I think. So what Elon's always does is he sort of overcommits and then sort of puts himself out there and tries to deliver on it. And the way that SpaceX operates, and as we've seen with the Starship launch last week, and there's been multiple Starship launches in the last few months, they're rolling out these test Starships once every week or two. They really are on a conveyor belt of testing these things, trying to do it as rapidly as possible. And the goal at the moment is to put a man on the moon in one of these Starships in 2023, which is in 2 years' time, which is kind of insane if you think about it, but I wouldn't put it past them, to be honest.
It's a very ambitious goal. I agree with you. I wouldn't put it past them. Now, I know there's been some good developments and also a couple of setbacks on the project, with a recent prototype successfully landing but then exploding just minutes later. What are the latest developments from the team?
Yeah, so as I said, to build them this quickly, generally, sort of the approach for rocket building is to design it and design it and design it, and make sure like everything's perfect, and then launch it because it's very expensive.
Yeah.
But the SpaceX philosophy is build one, build another one, build another one, build them all at once, and roll them out and test them. And what you learn from that is what goes wrong, and you fix it for the next one. And you can do that on a sort of 2-week time scale, which means you're constantly learning, constantly fixing, and constantly testing. So last week, they landed one of these Starships for the first time. This was the 10th attempt. The previous ones obviously hadn't made it. Some of them hadn't taken off. Some of them hadn't landed. This one did successfully land for the first time, which is incredible. But then a few minutes later, it exploded. So it kind of landed safely, but there was a fire in the engine, and that kind of got out of control, hit the fuel tank, and it exploded. But I mean, that in itself, we've learned a lot. We know how to land one of these things now. If we can get the fire out, then we've got a successfully reusable spacecraft, which is, it's the future. I mean, it's incredibly exciting and not something that, I would have predicted this soon.
Daniel, thank you so much. You've been astronomical this morning. We do appreciate that. And Elon will just continue going and going. Apparently, he's so obsessed he puts rocket on his salad. But so many milestones have already been achieved by SpaceX, as you know, and they are getting closer to finalizing the vessel that'll get humanity on Mars.
Would you go?
I would. Of course I would.
Me too.
Yeah, let's go.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back as we continue the final hour of what's been an amazing show, and it's going to get certainly more colorful and creative right now. Godfrey Dumbuleni came to Cape Town 25 years ago with nothing but the clothes on his back and his extraordinary talent for creating sculptures and objects from recycled metal. Well, since then, Godfrey has made a name for himself, making incredible works of art from his studio in Salt River, just east of Cape Town CBD. Some of his most beautiful sculptures are an elephant and a horse he made from used recycled Nespresso capsules. And we've got some of that work on display right here in studio, and we have the man himself, Godfrey, in studio to talk about his incredible art form and his inspiration, and to show us the process behind making one of these sculptures. You are hard at work, Godfrey. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Welcome.
I'm amazed to see the speed at which you are working. I've got two sausage dogs at home. I think they would love this introduction into the home. But looking at some of your work, the horse that we have on the photo, unbelievable. The elephant, absolutely beautiful stuff. What inspired you to start using Nespresso capsules to create art?
It's like what I normally do. When I look at something, I think of using it. This something which people they throw away. I think it's treasure to me. So I think of using it all with my wire sculptures. I combine them together, then I make some ornaments from it.
Absolutely beautiful work. I love the fact that you're taking this aluminium and you're giving it essentially a second life. And when I say life, I stress that word because you're bringing it to life with beautiful animal creations. Are animals your favorite thing to sculpt? Why choose these particular works of art?
I make anything. Anything. It's what I normally do. I look at a thing, then I think, okay, let me just work on this piece here. Some people, they come up with the ideas that they want something, then I work it from there.
And you take commissions. I mean, I'm looking at the elephant is absolutely beautiful that we're showing on screen now. Where did this begin? As a young man, did you have this kind of creativity? Where did your love for creating sculptures like this first start?
You know, when we were young, we used to make those wire cars. So from there, we worked on wire cars. When we grew up now, when I came here to South Africa about 25 years, I was thinking maybe I was going to get a job here. Then I couldn't find any. Then I thought, oh, the skills that I learned when I was young, let me utilize them right now. When I saw a lot of garbage being disposed, then I thought, oh, this is the time for me to recycle, to keep the environment clean for the next generation.
I love that, man. And now you're doing it in the most wonderful, creative, and beautiful way. I love the fact that you've used the capsules to, as I say, give them a second life, breathe new life into them. I'm going to let you get back to work there creating a fish right here live in studio. We're going to let Godfrey do his thing in peace and check back with him in just a moment or two. Stay tuned.
Sure, thank you.
Now listen up, Mzansi, he's jaw-dropping, gorgeous, of course. He's a singer, he's a songwriter and a performer. And we're talking about Lyle Anthony, still in the studio this morning and doing an epic rendition coming up of the song called Head and Heart. Lyle Anthony, take it away.
Thank you, sir. Hey, you guys know this one. It's one of my favorite songs.
Oh my God, this feeling's just begun. I'm saying things I've never said, doing things I've never done. Oh my God, when I see you I should run. But I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop. Feeling feelings I feel about us. Try to hide it, but it's never enough. My heart is certain it's more than a crush. But I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop. But my heart goes bum bum ba da bum bum ba. But my heart goes. My heart goes. Yeah. Bum bum ba da bum ba da 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 da. Oh my God, can't believe what I've become. I'm thinking things I've never seen, sing songs I've never sung. Oh my God, when I see you I should run. But I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop. Feeling feelings I feel about us. Try to fight it, but it's never enough. My heart is certain it's more than a crush. But I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop. And my heart goes bum bum ba da bum ba da bum. Hey, my heart goes. My heart goes. Yeah. One more time. Bum bum ba da bum ba da 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 da. Bum bum ba da bum ba da da bum ba da. Oh my God, this feeling's just begun. Saying things I've never said, doing things I've never done. Oh my God, when I see you I should run. But I'm frozen in motion and my head tells me to stop.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, you beautiful people. It is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso. We're live here on SABC3. Time to talk fashion. Oh, yes. Because when it comes to clothing, summer is all about, being comfortable, being stylish all at the same time. But what can we look forward to when it comes to autumn, winter 2021? Big things, I can tell you this. And our fashion editor, Nox Mafu, otherwise known as Nox Makashalala, is here to give us a rundown of what we can expect this season. Probably the most exciting season when it comes to dressing up and playing with styles and pieces and items.
It's so fun. I think, I was looking at the weather. I was like, well, winter's definitely here.
Yeah.
Which means, are we ready? Are we ready for fashion to take that new move? And I think I am.
Well, you are here to make sure that all the other ladies out there are ready too. And you've brought a whole host of items from Woolies as part of their autumn-winter 2021 collection. So what can we expect?
Well, I think this is the time where really we're taking athleisure and really the comfort, all about fleece time to the top. So really it's about items that you can live in. They are super comfortable, super versatile, and really made of soft materials and earth-friendly cotton. So we're really seeing the introduction of really soft items that are softer than soft, pretty much the things that you'd want to live in. We're seeing twin sets really come in here. So really a time where comfort takes lead and style is inevitable.
Oh, well, you've just sold it. I think we can end this entire chat right now because now I want to get this for my sister, everything, the whole rail. But what items specifically? Because you've got a whole lot. And I love that you're bringing those sets, those two-piece sets.
Two-piece sets.
They're big and they never go away. But what you've done now, and in terms of what you've picked from Woolies and what Woolies has done, is they've made them vibrant and fun. Tell us about that.
So we've got the tie-dye sets that we're seeing here. Some of my favorite items. I'm sure people at home definitely know that I've loved these. So these can come in shorts. They can come in your volume sleeve pants. So that's another style that's...
Are these shorts?
So these are shorts. Actually, let me take them out so that you can see.
Oh, wow.
So these are some cute shorts that you can keep in the house with the drawstring over here.
Nice.
So this is really lovely to add to your fashion collection.
Fab.
So these are in the tie-dye styles. And then what we have here also is kind of the, I'm going to find it right here. We'll see the volume sleeve joggers, right, which are super popular here.
Comfortable.
We're going to see there's a bit of a tightness at the bottom. Really great drawstring. The pocket detail is really great. We've got joggers. We've got, your printed, let's see here. So this is more of a plain one.
They're fun.
But they're fun. There's a nice graphic crew neck here.
Yes. And here's the thing that I really love about this Woolies collection of autumn-winter 2021 is that even the more sort of muted, toned-down, plain ones, they've made them fun in color. So you can experiment and play with color if prints aren't your thing. You've got a model as well.
I've got a model, and I'm just loving the pastel. You said color, and I just love it. The pastel colors in the bombers is really great. So the puffers also are a great addition. But
the category is model coming in, girl strutting her stuff, set on her body, tight like yes, queen.
Killing it in the sneakers. Here we've got a beautiful display of the volume sleeve joggers. We've added it with a cool, edgy hoodie, which I know Kuhle is enjoying at the moment. And if we wanted to elevate that style, which you can do
because now you're stepping out of the house.
You're stepping out of the house.
This is maybe at the house.
Yes, and you're chilling in your sneakers. I'm going to ask our model to try this on here. Yes.
And also really helpful to be able to throw that in the boot of your car as you step out, because you don't know how chilly it might get a bit later on in the day. And so this just elevates the look, number one, but still brings in, let's feel, comfort element, because even the denim is soft enough.
And it's because there's a huge focus on getting cottons and materials that are earth-friendly. These are all your softer than soft items. You basically want to live in this. I really am going to struggle to get it to take this off because...
I was going to say to you now that Kuhle is not going to stop twirling and turning around. She's literally just standing there. You see, she's going to give it to us, the whole thing.
So jewelry that you can add. But I really am enjoying this set because you can mix and match. The colors are really vibrant. And really just a great play between those joggers, between the shorts, and all in materials that feel so good against the skin.
The key takeout here for me is that if you are a couple, for example, this is so fantastic because earlier on, Aziz and I looked at stuff for the men.
Exactly.
And now we've got for the ladies, you can twin with your lady and be #couple
goals. And when they ask you where you get it in-store, online, or on the Woolies app. But it's all about embracing the transitional season and soft colors. We're seeing so many of them. Those textures, they're wonderful. They're great to experiment with. Those prints, they're stunning. And you can buy all of these cozy and comfy matching sets and fleece styles at Woolworths. Again, in-store, online, on the app. Everywhere. Nox Mafu, otherwise known as Noxy. Makashalala.
It's a new surname.
It's a new name I just added for Nox randomly. But please do go get those, take pictures and share with us. Strut your stuff.
The humble sausage is the hero at Woolies at the moment. Maybe you want it for a delicious decadent dinner or a beautiful breakfast. Well, Abby and Kanya are here to deliver this morning with an amazing recipe, one of my favorites. And we are doing it on a level this morning that I've never seen before. It's the pigs in blanket. So nothing brings people together like good food. And if you're looking for an easy weeknight supper or maybe something really indulgent to fortify you for breakfast, how does giant, and I mean giant, pigs in blankets sound? Well, we've got Abigail Donnelly and the creator of this swanky recipe, I'm going to call it, Kanya Mzongwana, in the house, and they're going to show us how to make this delicious dish. Already you've been hard at work, Kanya. You've been toiling away with the sausage. Abs, so good to see you.
You too, girl. Good to be back.
With your
And
funky
Kanya,
little
of course.
gun necklaces.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
Hey,
Very
cool for school.
The earrings, you know, stylish girls.
So the sausages are the heroes at Woolies at the moment. We've got some great deals running. But first, explain to me what is going on with our pigs in blanket.
What is going on, right?
What is happening?
Okay.
Man?
So what we've got is we've got these like amazing pork bangers, which are like my favorite thing of all time. And what I did was, because you get it kind of in a pack of 8, you got to untwist the links to get one long sausage. So I just left these two. That's how it looks. Yes. How it started, how it's going. So what I'm doing is I untwist the link and then I kind of just like
And you're allowed to do that?
You're allowed to do that.
You're allowed to do that? You can just take a bag of bangers
you can kind of do it
turn
if
it
you
into a
want.
boerewors?
Exactly.
I mean, you can actually even take the meat out of the skin as well and make a beautiful tomato pasta.
Get
So you
out.
stir fry, and it's just
Get
even
out
your
of here.
Scotch eggs. That is sausage meat out of the. And it's, yeah.
Of course, and you're
Very
going to get the lovely...
therapeutic to take it out.
I can imagine it, but of course it's because the flavour you get in a pork banger is second to none.
Exactly, and especially these Woolies ones. They plump and got
And
nice
running on
seasoning.
special at the moment.
They are.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's 20% buy 2, save 20%.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then obviously there's a whole selection of sausages. Kanya, could you do this with wors?
Yes, you
For
could
the
do this
bride.
with wors. You could do this with chicken sausage. You could replace the bacon. If you're feeling super fancy, you could use like pancetta,
Ooh.
parma ham. You could really just
make it your own.
Totally make
When
it
I
your
said swanky, I was right.
own. You
It
made
is
it.
a
Yes,
swanky
absolutely.
dish.
I'll move these for you.
Definitely.
Okay, so what do we do here? Okay, so we've got the pig. Where's the blanket?
Okay, so we've got the blanket here. We're going to cut it open with the...
Don't worry.
Oh, my word.
That's okay.
I know how you like to create these dramatic scenes.
It's what
for
I
your
do, it's what I
photos,
do.
You know, I've seen Abby at work
Yeah.
behind the scenes on one of her
And that
shoots.
isn't pretty. That's very
You know,
messy.
there's flour in the air and pasta left in your hair.
It's about emotion. It's how we cook, you know?
Listen, I'm cooking with Abby today, so,
You
you
know?
know, trying to be on my A game. I'm messing
Oh, whatever.
Okay, so, fun part. Okay, this is the blanket, this is the pig, and this is like such a simple process. You can even get the kiddios involved.
Oh, cool.
So, what
I'm
we're
going to
going
tuck your little thing in there, you know?
Thank you.
There we go. Go for it.
Fashion first, form later.
There we
Okay,
go.
so we basically
And obviously the
just gotta-
streaky bacon lends itself to this because it kind of
100% because of shape, because of like, you know, wrappability and fat content and all that good stuff. So we're basically going to do this, and I always encourage people to not be super neat about things.
I like to call it rustic. That's my, I kind of
Rustic.
always term it as
Yes.
being rustic when I don't quite get it right.
And you can do this on the braai.
Oh my word, absolutely. I think that
Just as like little pickings before the main event.
Imagine
Because the masses get
Little
hungry.
bits, yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
with
the
a little
problem.
bit
The
of
masses get
garlic
hungry. And
bread.
you've got to keep the beasts at bay with
Yeah.
something, a little tidbit. I love that.
And I suppose you could also, if you want to make a bigger, you either do 2 small ones for a lot of people, or you can just keep on like making
going.
like a wow kind of factor one.
Well, now that I know that you are allowed to just turn
Can do
8
whatever you
sausages
want.
into one. What's to stop you? I mean, you can just keep going for forevermore. And I think here the value obviously is you've got the fats in the bacon, you've got the fats in the pork bangers. This is all about that rendering that flavor out of the fats.
100%. And you know, like it's kind of the time that it spends on the braai or in the oven, you know, and stuff that really gets that fat rendering out.
That's
Yes,
fine.
awesome.
And then also, I suppose you could serve this, as a meal for dinner as well, not just like on the
Trust me,
braai or
when it's
whatever.
that big,
Yeah.
you can have it for
With-
breakfast and dinner.
Exactly,
probably.
brunch would be amazing, but like I'm just thinking mashed potatoes and a lekker salad.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Man,
Yes.
I love it. And this is hearty. This feels like comfort food on a different level. And I'm guessing by the beautiful kind of photographic ready kind of content there that this can be found in Taste.
Yes, so this month it's on sale now. So we've got sausages on the cover, which is with a cauliflower mash and balsamic onions.
Ooh.
And it's all about simple but accessible and aspirational food, obviously in
Yes.
taste. And that's what Kanya's bringing to this dish. And we've got such amazing articles. There's a ginger, so it's all your aromatics. We've got a lovely article on ginger, garlic, and chili. Easy peasy recipes. Mince, what to do the entire week, maybe even month with mince, because mince is so versatile.
It really is,
Pork,
yeah.
Woolworths has got lamb mince, pork mince, chicken mince, beef mince, ostrich mince.
Can I
as
ask
well.
you a question? Because this started a national debate last week.
Yes.
Do you rinse your mince? Please look shocked and fall down onto the ground.
That's shocking.
Exactly.
Who rinses their mince?
Exactly. 40% of the people in the world, apparently, according to our poll that we ran, 40% of people.
That
out
is
there
shocking to me.
their mince.
I am horrified, but why?
But how? This is
Why?
Exactly.
Yeah, how,
Exactly.
why?
Zoe Brown, I hope you're watching this. You have split the nation. You have divided the nation.
What do they
with your
do? Do they
controversy.
put it in like a
In a
colander?
colander, yeah, exactly.
No.
But I suppose the other debate is who rinses their mushrooms.
Yeah.
Oh, and who
you're
wipes
supposed
their
to,
mushrooms?
You're supposed to brush your mushrooms.
Yes,
eh?
exactly, yeah.
Oh, man.
So just going
before- this is
into
getting
like
quite
really
dramatic.
beautiful, simple. Here we've got what I did was a gourmet hot dog, but with crab sticks and vegan mayo and
Get outta
cucumber.
here.
Yeah, just easy things. Tuna. Take a tin of tuna.
My fave.
And just make them into little balls and poach them in tomato sauce.
I
and
love
the family
that.
will love. Yeah.
I love the fact that you called it aspirational cooking, and I think that's at the heart
Yeah.
of this kind of cooking. I love that. So in less than a minute, how do we wrap this whole beautiful scenario up?
Excuse the pun, right? Okay, cool. So we've wrapped our sausage up right now, and it kind of, it's got that rustic thing we spoke about.
Beautiful.
So now we're gonna get to the fun part where we're gonna start making the glaze. Yeah. So
the gooey, sticky, yummy.
yes, the one of the big stars, one of the big celebs. So
The mouth.
Abby,
water.
I'm gonna ask you to help me make this glaze poppin'. So it's basically just fig jam and water. And then we've got some aromatic herbs over here. We've got some sage, which is really great with pork. We've got some fresh thyme and rosemary, and we've got some salt and pepper.
Cool. So would you just bung that into a pot and just kind of whatever?
Basically.
Could you cheat and could you just brush it all over and let it bake with it, or?
It's up to you, but
Yeah.
what I like to do is I like to split
Marinate.
the jam.
Okay,
Or
cool.
so that it's not too,
Too
solid.
too solid.
So it's just
exactly.
beautiful and
Gelatinous.
smooth.
Oh,
Exactly.
I love
So
that.
I don't think we got time for that, so we will just put
Well,
it on
I'm
this
going to
way.
suggest
Yeah.
you keep going because there's a hungry
Okay.
studio that's going to need it. Yes, please, for that.
Sure.
Kanya, this is true inspiration.
I'm feeling the passion. I'm feeling the passion.
Comfort food at
So
its
what
absolute
And,
best.
and this is fig jam, which is great. I mean,
yes.
why did you choose fig jam and not strawberry jam?
Well, wow, because fig jam, I have like this really lovely relationship with fig and pork. I think that it
Nice.
just works so well together. And yes, you can slap the jam straight on, and kind of in between those crevices as well.
Get your aromatics in there. I think the
Exactly.
fig jam with the aromatics, with the smokiness of the pork, it is going to sing in your mouth.
Yes.
You might be a genius. You might be a crazy, mad scientist genius.
I've heard the first word more often.
More often than not. And yes, we have now established that you can turn 9 sausages into one and create the biggest, most delectable, delicious ever
Yes,
pig in blankets that you have ever seen. And you can find this gorgeous recipe, this inspiration, and a whole lot more at taste.co.za.
Ta-da! Look at it.
Only you can make my day. It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. As we near the end of your daily dose of feel-good showing on TV here on SABC3, it's time for us to look at gaming. If there's one thing that makes any video game worth playing, apart from the storyline and actual gameplay, it's also the graphics. They play such an important role. And while some game developers push the boundaries between the digital world and reality with hyper-realistic graphics, others are embracing a more, simpler, stylized aesthetic, or basing their design off of a style that is based on art. And we use all of that. We see it in traditional mediums, and they take that and then they bring it in gaming, which is just fantastic. Grant Hines joins us to share more.
In summary, video games are art.
But we've known that, but this is just taking
But some people don't know that. I was at the MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art in New York.
Yes.
And they had an incredible video game section, which is just based on video games and celebrating the art and what they do through interactivity.
And this is at an art institution. Well, today you are running us through a list of those games that are really quite artistic in a very obvious way. But simple,
Visuals.
stylized, very, very visual. We'll start with the first one. This is Bravely Default 2.
So this is Bravely Default 2, yep. It is a Japanese RPG.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it's extremely stylized. They use like a pixel art style to do really stylized things. And it is one of the most modern games on the list. It's only available on the Nintendo Switch. I think it's really beautiful. If you love Japanese games and the art styles that come with those, like anime, it will throw you back. So I highly recommend checking it out, especially if you love the art style.
And those Japanese games, I think they can really push it and take it to a new level when it comes to the art and styling. And then there's also Gris.
Gris is beautiful. Actually, Steven, who works on the show, introduced me to Gris.
Oh yeah.
It's like very watercolor, painterly styled game.
Yeah.
And it looks absolutely stunning. A lot of white space and it looks like a moving painting, and a very emotional ride as well. So really check that out.
The next one got me so interested. I thought, wow, this is a South African one, because I thought it meant Borderland series, but it's actually Borderlands series.
Yeah. Borderland, yes. Borderlands uses comic books, and they actually paint the textures in Photoshop and then stick those textures on the characters in the game.
What?
Yeah, it's not called cell shading. There's an older technology called cell shading, but it's the evolution of that. So it looks like a full 3D comic book.
Oh, okay. And then Cuphead.
Cuphead is incredible. It looks like those old.
Come alive.
I actually met the artist for this when I was in LA for E3 once, just walking past his booth, and it's this hand-drawn. He literally hand draws every single frame, and it looks like those old vintage Disney films.
So if you think of like the Lion King from like back.
No, like 50s Disney.
Even
vintage.
way earlier.
And it's just repurposed for video game, and it's something that I've never seen before, and it's just like, it's so standout.
You know, this one, I think it really caught my attention. Journey. Because the way that it's really put together is so immersive.
Like, Journey is just like, it's won so many awards, just not only because of the way it looks, it's just also very stylized, simplistic, but it's got a lot of like Buddhist principles in it. And the whole idea is it's a very short game, and you respawn once you get to the end, and you then will join with a random player who can only sing to you. They can't, it's another player online, and together you have to go on this journey to reach the top of the mountain.
I love that.
And the longer you play, the longer your scarf gets, so the more experience you have. So you might join up with somebody with like this really long scarf who can take you through this journey by singing it to you. It's just beautiful, man.
And you know, some people in gaming prefer the more sort of ultra-realistic experience. And Limbo is a game that does that. It provides just that, yeah?
No, Limbo's also black and white, like monochromatic, just also very stylized, a little bit darker in theme, but everybody can play it. But it just goes to show you the different lengths and the different like executions that you can get when it comes to like video games. They are an art, and art is used to create them.
They are an art, and art is used to create them. And there's a whole host of them out there, and I think it's worth taking the time to research them, have a look at them, and appreciate the fact that people have put in artistry to bring these through to us. Thank you so much, Grant Hines. You're a rock star. Keep going, my boy.
Now we're back with Godfrey Dambuleni, a talented sculptor from Salt River who uses recycled metal to create incredible artwork. And now he's showing us how he gives recycled used Nespresso capsules new life as art. Godfrey, we were chatting to you earlier, of course. I was watching your skills. You work fast, man. This is almost our fish. We're calling it the Expresso fish, I believe.
Yeah.
Its name's going to be Lucian.
Lucian.
But I'm absolutely loving your progress so far. But take me through the inspiration behind it. Obviously, I heard you speaking to G about how you get inspired to do these pieces. But what happens after that, the actual process itself? How long does it take? Because I see you're busy knitting the capsules together, and then you sort of like transferred on after that.
Yeah, basically, you see, this type of art that I do, it's not about me. We are also creating for other people, because it's like, you see, putting the strings. It's somebody who's supposed to be doing this. So it's creating of employment for other people as well.
Okay, so you wouldn't actually have to do this yourself.
Yes.
You've got a team working with you.
I've got a team working with me.
Oh, that's beautiful. So more jobs, more passion to be explored, of course. I absolutely love that, man. So, I mean, obviously, we're talking about something that's really important to a lot of us. To me, especially being a nature boy at heart, the fact that we're creating something out of used materials and recycling is so important right now. But why is it important to you?
To me, you know, for environmental friendly, people, they are throwing away things each and every time. So if we can look in about the next 10 to 15 years, how will the world be without us recycling? So it's better for us to recycle so that we always keep the environment clean for the next generation.
I couldn't agree with you more. And on top of that, not just recycling, but creating something so beautiful out of it is just a blessing on top of that. I mean, looking at the creations that you have made. I've got to ask you a question, because it does look challenging. It looks quite hard, and 25 years worth of experience is what results in this.
Yeah.
But I want to challenge you. How difficult do you think it would be to teach me to do something like this? Do you think I could have a go at trying to wrap one of these?
You can. It's only a matter of time and patience for you.
Okay, okay. So could I maybe just, I mean, it doesn't have to be the final piece, but do you think I could maybe lay one ring on the fish?
Yeah, you can.
Have my hands on this?
You
right?
can.
Do you want to help me out? Let me try my hand at this. Okay. Let me just reach over the table there.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got Lucian, our fish, over here.
So what you basically do right now, it's like you attach it here.
All right.
Then you move it.
Okay, okay, let me attach it.
So you attach it to this one here.
And Godfrey, I do apologize if I ruin your art piece, but I'm
no problem.
Putting the most effort that I can. So this gets wrapped around here.
Yes.
All right. Just like that?
Yeah. Then this one must go in between here.
Oh, in between that fin. All right, so you actually got to get quite involved here, getting the metal through this. Mzansi, you guys can see me trying this out. It's clearly not as easy as Godfrey made it look. Ah, there we go. We got to knit it in there.
You knit it in here. So this whole part must come through here. But now, first you have to attach it here so that you move with it. So when it's moving, because we want to close this gap here, we don't want to leave the gaps.
So you have almost like this perfect scale creation.
It goes like this, yeah.
Ah, okay, I got you. Let me try myself out here.
Now,
Godfrey, how long would something like this take from start to finish to actually create?
From start, because normally I don't work it like on my own. I've got a crew, about 7 guys that I work with on daily basis. So the other one will be just punching the holes.
The pieces, yeah.
Yes, and it's like from start, you have to take out the coffee. So there is one guy who has to take out the coffee, and that coffee, we take it to the gardens. People, they use it for manure.
Oh, like a fertilizer and a manure back into the ground.
Back into the ground, so nothing to waste.
Oh, that is incredible. So your entire process is just giving back, creating jobs, doing sustainable things. Absolutely love it, Godfrey, of course, and I'm absolutely looking forward to the end creation. I think I'm going to leave this in your hands, though, because, yeah, this is a lot easier than it looks. So I look forward to the end product. Of course, you guys can see it later on at the end of the show. But as you can see, Godfrey's an incredible artist, of course. And interestingly, his sculptures have their own energy, too. And if you're in Cape Town and would like to see more of Godfrey's sculptures, then of course head over to his Mixed Ideas studio in Salt River, where he's performing so much more of this magic with the rest of his team. Godfrey, absolute magic, man. Let's get back to this.
Thank you so much.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast show, Expresso. Here on SABC3, listen, South African-born pop star Lyle Anthony is standing by right now to perform his exciting debut solo single, Love Wins. This song was birthed on the onset of COVID-19 when Lyle saw a need for a fun, loving and happy song during the worldwide pandemic. Love Wins is all about love, different types of love, which includes self-love. So without further ado, let's end this day off on a banger. Lyle, take it away.
Thank you. South Africa, this is my message to you. Let's go out there, spread some love. This is also a dedication to my brother. This one's for you. I miss you, and I love you. Let's spread love. Hey! let's spread love. Let love be the answer. Love wins again.
Big shout out to you. Thank you for joining us. We do this bright and early again tomorrow.
Wow. We love you, Sarah.
Right?
Make the most of glorious summer with your picnic favorites. Made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.